So, Respawn,
Yeah.
it sounds like you're in the car.
I am.
Okay. Are we waiting for you to arrive at a destination before we do a podcast?
No, you can do it now and just cut me out for the noisy bits if you want.
Would that be all of it then?
Is it that bad?
I mean, it's not bad yet.
It's
but
not the best.
It inevitably will be. Yeah, it's not great.
I want to give the listeners the best experience possible.
Okay, then you can just cut out my whole track. I just want to be here to hear what's going on and to contribute.
No, but are you going to be at home at some point?
No, we're going to a theme park for Elijah's birthday.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
you're going to be podcasting from Rides today?
No.
I'm going to need your best prismatic take from a roller coaster. This
Dude,
is my request.
I found the most evil, amazing hunter build this world has ever seen.
I said from a roller coaster. Are you on a roller coaster?
No, there's no. Today's the water park. There's no roller coasters.
Even better. Oh yes. I just need you to know that you're like podcasting from a like a lazy river, like a whitewater rapids kind of park thing.
Yeah. That's today. Tomorrow's the rides. Today's the water park.
Okay, so listeners, just imagine Respawn sitting in the lazy river, going down on his tube while podcasting, while everyone's looking around going, why is this man screaming about hunters in the water park around all the children? Why is this happening?
I would 100% do that with no fear.
And then they'll just realize, oh, it's Florida. That's just a normal Saturday in Florida. Nothing to look at here.
Yeah.
Won't even raise an eyebrow.
Yeah.
Oh, good times.
I think will be fun.
And Luna's cackle told me I am correct.
Yeah.
Shut up.
I'm just going to roll the titles and we can get going then, because he's just going to start talking.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to Two Titans and a Hunter, a Destiny 2 podcast. Dedicated in bringing you all the latest information, news, and opinions. This is the best show for new and veteran Guardians alike, where we share tips, tricks, and tools to help you succeed and enjoy playing even more. So with all that said, let me hand you over to your hosts, the Triumph Hunting Titan Night Demon, the Pink Panty Pansy Peroty, and your Hunter Master Ranger, Mr. No One Respawns in Real Life!
So yeah, welcome to the show. As we've learned in the intro, Respawn is going to a water park. I don't think the laptop's going with him. I think this is podcasting from the phone, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Good times. And Peroty and I are back in safe locations in our warm, snug houses. And that's where we are. Respawn, we send him out to do all the dangerous things.
Mm-hmm. Are you trying to say that Florida at large is dangerous?
No, we're just saying that we send you out into the world to do dangerous things like touch grass.
Not yet. It'll be underwater soon. Then you'll be part of the sea again. So
yeah,
King Poseidon will roll over you once more.
Squirrel. But see, that's why you got to think ahead, right? So when I bought our land and built our house, I picked a plot of land in Central Florida. That way, when Florida does inevitably flood, I will now have beachfront property.
Mm-hmm. Until you become beach.
Oh, coral.
Either one.
Right?
Yeah.
Nature's healing itself. Anyway, we got a new listener talking about the Prismatic when we were doing the dupe runs. Y'all heard about that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we know about that.
I know those
it was a British guy that I teamed up with on LFG. And he was level 11, and so you would know that he had to solo a dungeon by himself and this and that and the other, right? And I was just like making comments because it was like jumping ahead and whatnot and sword skating across the map. I'm like, yeah, someone that can solo a dungeon knows how to sword skate. I'm so special. He goes, how do you know so much about me? And I'm like, bro, are you serious? I'm like, I'm a host on a podcast, and I know all kinds of useless information temporarily until it gets blocked out of my brain, And then he heard about the podcast, and now he's a fan. He subscribed and everything. But the thing is he said he can only go back as far as episode 80 anywhere. Like he looked on YouTube, he looked everywhere. It only goes back as far as like episode 80. And he
No.
was kind of upset about that. He's like, "Where's the
YouTube goes
rest?"
way back. YouTube, I'm sure, goes way back.
You can go to
Well, he said
twotitans100.com
80.
and go all the way back to the beginning. Now, whatever
Okay,
pod,
okay.
now whatever pod. Now, I don't know what limits there are to like the podcatcher you're listening in. That may only load so far back on the RSS feed, or whatever it loads. It may have a limit, but no, you can go to twotitans100.com and go all the way back to episode 1. If you
now I know that.
really want to.
I'll point that out next time.
I mean, I wouldn't recommend it unless you want to hear really old information about this game.
I did tell him that.
I mean,
he's anxious to go back to listen to Night Demon edit songs coming out of me. Because
well, there you go.
That's what he used to do. Yeah.
Well, that's just a scavenger hunt. I mean, you can absolutely go scavenger hunt your way through that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you really want to listen to episode 1, we had to start somewhere from February 6th, 2019. You can do that. It's on the website.
Yeah. The only problem is I accidentally deleted episode 2 from Podbean, and I don't know how I deleted it. And
1, 3, 3.5, 4. Well,
no, you just gotta do like a manga.
Okay,
you know how the manga.
So I take it back. You can't listen to episode 2. You can listen to all the episodes, but 2. But we do have a 3.5, so the numbering still all works out. So we're good.
No, it doesn't work out because we skipped episode 13 because it was bad luck.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, speaking, he was listening to our latest episode that you just released.
Yes.
And he's like, "Dude, I'm 1 minute in, and I'm a big fan." I'm like, "Okay." He goes, "Just hearing you two bicker in the beginning, I know this is my kind of humor." I'm like, "All right, there you go." Right.
That's nice to know. We have a new fan.
He gave a lot of good feedback because as we were doing this, apparently he was listening to the podcast and he's a fan already. But
listen to in real life and in recorded form.
Did you remember the feedback? Did you remember to tell us what the feedback was?
I just told you.
Oh, okay. There wasn't anything else.
He likes the humor. He likes the banter back and forth. He liked the way that you had us bickering in the beginning, then rolled the intros and cut me off. I mean, he liked that. He was upset that you couldn't go back further than episode 80 something. Things like that.
Did he enjoy the spoiler robot? That's the real question. Because Blue Screen absolutely enjoyed the spoiler robot.
Did he?
He did. He texted me earlier this week. Once I find it, just getting to listen to the podcast now. 19 been using the robot for the spoiler warning made me laugh so loud in an airport. I'm not your real dad. Please share my enjoyment with our unreal British dad.
Well, I'm not your real dad. I can't tell you what to do.
I know exactly. But that man just laughed out loud. He said he's like, my family looked to me like I was a crazy person, and maybe I am. But the robot says what the robot says.
But additionally, there is something I wanted to talk to you about before I end up getting wrapped up in this whole thing. Right? Is with Prismatic. I don't know all the things you can do as a Titan with Prismatic. I do know that Hunters right now are according to multiple YouTubers, we are the tankiest class right now, which is crazy because that is reserved for Titans historically,
Yeah, but it hasn't been that way in a while.
Well, you've still been tankier than us, right? And people are telling me with the kit that Titans have, that's a lot more glass cannon-y, which I thought was weird. Is that the case? Do y'all not have any survivability in your Prismatic?
I mean, there's survivability, but
if you take away
whatever is different.
Yeah, if you take away the word prismatic and replace it with strand and have my sword build, then yes.
But you don't have that in Prismatic, so that's a no.
That's if you use prismatic. If you're still stuck on strand with a sword build, then you're okay.
I mean, it depends what we're talking about for survivability too. I mean, we have restoration, we have cure, we have void over shields. Like depending how you build into all that stuff, you can make a build where you're getting multiple healing sources. How that compares to Hunter, I don't know, and how you proc it. A lot of our stuff is based on kills, based on doing something. it's I don't know if the hunter kit is more passive, but like it's basically
Oh no, it's super passive.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically if I'm running around and slaying out, I'm staying alive. If I'm not running around and slaying out, I don't have a lot of ways to get that cure back or heal back. Like unless I throw in there's a void.
True.
There's like a void aspect where I can hold like a void shield up that I haven't really played with much, but that's like an option. But yeah I mean, you can put the Draeger's Lash on to suspend people, but again, that's not really survivability so much as going, you can't touch me, you stay over there while I go hide over here.
I see. Yeah, no, because with hunters, it is pretty passive. All I do is I can run around and I punch somebody one time, for example, right? You dodge before you go in there and punch. Which, hold on, Elijah. Yeah, that's a big truck, puppy. That's a monster truck. But I dodge into somebody, which creates the strand decoy, right? And slows them. I punch them. I kill them, which heals me. Also drops the frost armor fragments, right? And then if I've grappled into the enemy, I also have woven mail. So I've got woven mail, frost armor, a decoy. Those three things right there make me. Well, the decoy doesn't make me tanky, but it takes people away from shooting me. But frost armor paired with woven mail is incredibly strong. And then we have that aspect if we're surrounded, we are more resilient, right? So I mean, hunters are ridiculously strong right now, man. And the hunter punchy build of Doom is the way to go, And it's the strongest thing I've ever come in contact in this game, full stop. I am legit invincible. I don't think I've been killed since I've been using this build, And even like Carl, right? I walked in, I went up and I punched Carl twice and he was dead. I was like, not only am I tankier than I've ever been, I can two punch bosses, right? And the other thing that I was going to mention is my prismatic bar fills up in a few hits, like both sides. It's crazy, right? And then you add the new prismatic class items to this. It is godly, dude. Because having things like Caliban's Hand and Liar's Handshake on the same exotic, I punch something, it detonates. Most likely, it also detonates my my distraction clone thing, and then it sends out the little threadlings everywhere. There is so much AoE off of one punch, dude. It is insane. And I'm like, there's no way Titans don't have a build like this,
Well,
even Warlocks, I see the whole Invincible Warlock build on Plunder the Booty and Mactix, so there's got to be something for you guys,
Yeah, I mean, we can do a lot of the same stuff with the prismatic builds. Again, procking it's a little bit different because we can't just dodge and create things. But like there's stuff we can do, but I haven't unlocked all the prismatic stuff yet. So honestly, I've just been running around with the precious scars and relying on the overshield healing from that, and then doing some of the other heals with either the Red Death Reformed or using basic procking cure, procking heal clip, running around with the new no hesitation auto rifle, which is a lot of fun.
It is really good, yeah. But you're like the fourth person that's told me about the Precious Scars build on a Titan Prismatic. I'm kind of curious to look into that to see how that works.
It's very. It's dead simple. It's basically getting revive somebody. Before it was get a revive and you and your teammate get an overshield. This is just get a kill with a weapon that matches your super damage type, and you get a healing burst around you and your allies. Grants restoration. So
that's
basically,
why everybody's rocking Void Titans because your Void Axe thing with see.
100%. I mean, it's beautiful. So so you can spec into any super you want with Prismatic, but you put the new like you wouldn't say Twilight Garrison. It's not Twilight Garrison. The new Void super where you throw all the axes. That's called Twilight Arsenal, maybe Twilight something. And I mean, you build into Void. You throw something with the detonators on, and you just go to town. Throw destabilizing rounds on something, and you just murder things. You get the overshield. You get the healing. Like there's just it's just again you slay out and you get healed, and you don't have to worry about it.
So you are pretty tanky. Just laying out. Okay. Simple.
I mean, it's. I mean, I can get like cure, restoration going, the void over shield. I think something woven mail from something, depending on again just what weapons you're using or what loadout you're running. Yeah, I mean, you can build into all that stuff. It's just it's a little less passive. It's you have to be doing something to do it.
Speaking of passive, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's it.
Oh, okay. Speaking of passive, before I get into the whole class item thing, I just want to let y'all know that I saw Peroty doing the final activity, but I didn't know he was doing it for the first time, right? And I'm like, I'll go help him out. He's got a slot open. I'll go help him out, right? So I jumped in there. We killed the boss, and when my skip scene button didn't pop up, I'm like, oh no.
You're trapped in here with me.
Oh no, I can't leave. So I had to watch that entire 10-minute thing with Peroty trapping me in his party.
Mm-hmm.
But the cutscene, it was amazing though, right? The first time you saw it, I had watched it during the podcast last time. You didn't know what I was talking about. But now you know what I'm talking about. How cool was that, right?
It was amazing. And honestly, like this is how I wish every season would have ended on a story beat like this, like a narrative mission like this. And then to see that story at the end. What really, really killed it for me though, and honestly, there was a couple days before I went back to Excision, like, when Zavala says the voice line, like, moments ago, a fire team is, taking down the witness and da-da-da. I had tried to play that mission when that was reality. Saturday after they had actually, like, minutes after the raid was beaten and the activity was open, I tried to go in there with blue screen because he had wildcard unlocked, so he had the thing out to be able to go play it. And we loaded in and watched that opening cinematic 4 or 5 times. Because we got to the cinematic, it loaded, it was awesome. We were hyped to go in. It kicks you to the, I need to find 12 people loading screen. Did that, found our 12 people, bat error. Back to orbit. Load in, cinematic, loading screen, bat error. Just over and over and over. And it's like, Bungie, you really know how to build hype. And then you really know how to crush that hype and that excitement by having your game be in a state where I literally cannot go play it. So, finally went back and was able to do it, but just like, okay, like I'm watching the opening cinematic going, yeah, this is so really cool. But now this is like the 7th time I've seen this between live gameplay and watching other people do it going, okay, yeah, this is really cool. I'd like to go do the thing now, please. And then watch the cinematic after that, which was also incredible. And like, again, this is why I want to see these stories brought to life on a big or small screen of some sort. Like the talent is there, the storytelling is there. Like even doing something animated in that Bungie style, like would be incredible. Like just give it to us.
Now at the ending cutscene, I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody this time, but with what happened to Cade, right? Like. Dude, that hit me in the feels, bro. It did.
I was watching that just going, and I want to say something else, but again, trying to stay out of spoiler territory at least for another week or two until people have had a chance to go play it. But yeah,
but like, what did you think about that? Like, was that powerful to you being a Titan?
Oh well, yeah. I mean, just the whole scene itself was again just beautiful storytelling. Like I just really enjoyed the whole thing, the whole story, the whole how we got there, what happened, where we go from there, and also like confirmed to me where we're going with the story and what's happening with it.
So, Demon, do you know what we're talking about yet? Did you do it?
Yeah. No, I did. But the one thing that's quite confusing, and I think it was to do with the fact that they had the raid like 3 days after we had the final shape, is that even though, that was completed and we've gone and done the Excision mission, and then you go back and you carry on doing the stuff, if you'd finished the story, you'd done the Cade mission to get the sniper rifle, and then you gone and done the Excision mission, you kind of, what happened at the end. Apparently there is still more stuff in the raid at the end that we don't want to kind of spoil because a lot of people are still kind of hush on that. But going back to the Pale Heart and then continuing the story after that is very it's jarring only because some of the things have you kind of speak to Micah 10, and he's sending you off on missions to go and find ghosts and do kind of. I've had to go and do a strike on the Cosmodrome. I've had to do a strike on the EDC. Before you kind of load into it, it says so many hours before the final shape. And that's the thing that's a little bit disjarring, is the fact that if you didn't rush ahead and get everything done, and there's so much to get done, so I don't know who managed to get all of these little kind of side missions after you complete the campaign done before you kind of go into the raid. That's the bit that's a little bit jarring, is that you're kind of going off and finding these ghosts and reviving them and doing all these sys missions, and they're meant, that's kind of in the kind of narrative line of the story and the story beats leading up to the raid. It feels that that's meant to have been done before you go into the raid and before you do the Excision mission. So that's the only thing that's a little bit disjointed at the moment, is that I'm going off and doing those things, and it's speaking about the final shape still coming. But it's
totally. Yeah,
the same thing happened post
I had the same experience.
The same thing happened post Forsaken. You had the same feedback back then too, if I remember correctly, because we saw Cade die, and then we're going into strikes, hearing Cade talking to us about the strike. But that was previous. That still exists. That's still previous strikes where Cade is narrating those previous strikes. But no, I'm talking about actual kind of story beats. Well, not story beats, but just like the way that the kind of the story unfolds after you complete the campaign. And Micah 10's going like, you need to go off and find this revived ghost. Go and do that. Go and do assist. Then go off and do a strike on the EDZ, and it comes up like there's a black screen. It goes so many hours before the final shape, and I'm like, I get why it's there, but I think with the raid being 3 days after, and I get the fact that we needed to get that, to get the hype train going, and to get everybody so excited so that reviewers can get their reviews out there and go, look, this is amazing, and then we move straight into echoes and this and that. But if you're playing the game just to play the game and enjoy the game, you didn't want to rush through it in those 3 days to then, and the contest mode is another discussion I want to kind of have with you guys. But then, if you did get into the raid, complete the raid, and then do the Excision mission, and then go back and do the Pale Heart, that's the bit that's a little bit off with the little story things. And I'm not saying that it's not. There's so much to do, and I'm having so much fun, kind of going off and doing things. And I feel like I've done like these sys missions about 10,000 times, but I'm still finding things going back into the same one, because I'm trying to do the Kvostov missions as well. So I need to go and get the little pieces to then. And some of those are in the sys mission, so I need to go load them back up and complete them, and do that. So I'm just so excited that there's so much to do, and the story was fantastic. The Excision mission was fantastic. The story and the things that kind of followed that were amazing. And like you guys were saying, it was so heartfelt, and you could see that Bungie poured so much love, care, and attention into rounding out the Light and Dark saga. That in itself, though, is a double-edged sword, because they make great storyline, right? But at the same time, they're not doing anything with it, right? So like Peroty and I always bring up, if they took this talent and brought it to the cinematic world, not even just like movies, just a TV series, I don't even care, right? If we could get the Bungie storyline with these guys in charge, that would be phenomenal,
Yeah.
But they don't do anything with it. They have these people, and they don't utilize them properly, in my opinion.
Looking at it from kind of a perspective of getting like games into the mainstream media, it's been a very long time coming. I mean, just look at what the Fallout TV series has kind of done, but that was years in development, and now they're trying to rush and get the second season out as quick as possible. And it's like, no, don't rush it. Spend your time getting it done, and get it done perfect. Mm-hmm. Halo is another example. How many years was Halo TV series and films kind of in development hell, and before they kind of actually managed to find a home and get it released? And
but I heard the Halo TV series didn't do well. I haven't watched it personally, so I don't know. But I heard it didn't get great reviews. I think the movie was okay, but the TV series I thought was not great.
I think it's one of those things. You love it or you hate it. And the same thing with like the Doom film. It's now kind of a cult film, but it was one of those things that was kind of, it's Mortal Kombat, another one that's from 1995, the original kind of film.
That was a good one. The original,
but that was a cult one as well, and I think that seemed to work because it just seemed to work, that one, for some strange reason at that time, and it built this cult following. But then you look at Destiny and you think, I want all these different things, and I want, the comics, I want the films, I want the series. But I think, from them partnering with Sony, it's going to take time. What have we been, a year, maybe a year and a half partnership with Sony before things kind of, it's not going to be a very quick turnaround to get these things out. So, I think we're just going to be waiting for a little bit longer.
We all talk about the love-hate relationship with Bungie, or not Bungie, Destiny, right? But I mean, just remember the one little short film cinematic thing they had with like a hunter dancing while a warlock was popping off enemies, right? And then the Titan comes and the warlock come and they all end up in this big dance-off session thing like that. Look how hugely popular that was. Not even just in the Destiny community, but even like as a meme outside the community, man. The thing was everywhere, right? So, I mean, there's a love for the genre. There's a love for what our Guardians are and can do. And even the goofiness, like in the video I just mentioned, right? They can do a lot with this universe, and they're just not. But, I mean, whatever.
But, it's been the same for, like, Gears of War as well. Gears of War, there's been a film in development for years. And I think it's now coming up on, like, 20-odd years that they've been talking about doing films and things. Yes, they do audiobooks, they do normal books, they do comics and things. But that was kind of from the start that they kind of did things like that. Whereas Bungie have kind of recognized what they need to kind of get out to the fans and gone, right, we need to kind of get this out now. So they're kind of on a, they're on the back foot basically. But again, I'm still waiting for a Gears of War film.
Yeah, I mean, and again, like to your point, we want it done well. We don't want to just slapdashed out there. And in the case of Halo, no, Doom was fine. I have no problem with Doom. Halo was fine as a standalone piece of media. As a Halo show, it was less fine because you had people creating it who were not familiar with the world they were creating. So, it needs to be done by people who know and appreciate. Yeah, The Witcher is another good example. Have it done by people who appreciate the source material you're working from. You can't look at Halo and go, we're just going to ignore the Halo games and make this Halo show. And I'm like, well, that's fine, but then it's not a Halo show. It's just a show about people you may have heard of running around in space.
Yeah. And The Witcher was good because Henry Cavill had a lot of feedback to the detriment of the show, I guess. Well, because they ended up getting rid of him, and the show suffered because of that. But he, there's a lot of the story aspects.
Yeah. He walked away from that one.
Yeah,
I think they wanted to go in directions. He wanted to go in directions. Yeah, because isn't he Witcher super nerd? And they were like, we want to do these stupid things, and he's like, nah. If you're going to do that, I'm gonna go be over here now.
Yeah.
And everyone else
take that as a red flag.
Out of him for that too, by the way, But anyway, getting back to Destiny as it is, right? Have either one of you got a class item yet?
No, because I haven't finished all the steps I have to do to get the class item unlocked yet. Because like 19, I'm, hit with the absolute monsoon of things to get done, and I'm going. There's a lot here, and I do at least have a list of all the things I need to do, because that's both the thing I love and hate about Destiny's new content. I love that I am absolutely overwhelmed by things to do, and I hate that I don't really know when I'm doing things which objective I'm really working my way toward. Like the Final Shape mission. Again, I've got a mission, I've got a quest that I finished out because I was like, okay, I'm almost at the end of that. Let me finish that one out, and then Echoes is out now, and of course you load in, and the game dumps you into that initial mission with Osiris and Saint. And Failsafe, I am super happy to have Failsafe back. I love that Failsafe is going to be a bigger part of this game, especially with
the helm. Yes,
with what's happened with a certain other character. I'm super happy to have Failsafe back in the game in a more real. I mean, Failsafe's always been there, but honestly, the last time I was in Essus was like 400 years ago when Failsafe crashed, and haven't been back since. But there's just so much to do. I've been running around, doing all of the all the missions on the Pale Heart, just trying to get, basically get my prismatic gear unlocked. I still need to get all the fragments done. Like I started that, then got sidetracked with something else. Like there's just so much to do, so much to unlock, so much to
Well, the
to
class
look
item
into.
might actually be one of the fastest things for you to get because legit, I mean, it's super quick, right? The
He
3
says.
sections where you can do the not onslaught. What the hell is it called?
Overthrow.
Overthrow. All you gotta do is do the overthrow, find the witches, which spawn in the exact same location every time. You can just look up the spawn points,
Do
right?
the overthrow. Do the overthrow. Do the overthrow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Do the
but I mean,
overthrow
it doesn't
in all
take-
3 locations. You have to
by
get to the
myself.
end of the
I got
overthrow.
done in like 30 minutes, 30, 45 minutes, dude. It doesn't take long. You
Yeah,
put
yeah.
on, and a lot of people
Times
don't
3.
notice, but when you
Mhm.
put on the resource monitor on your ghost, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Picking up the chest and picking up the resources count towards that progress for overthrow. If you didn't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it zips by, especially as you're running around opening chests and whatnot the whole way, right?
Yeah.
And then you find the secret witch in each area, and then you're done. Oh no, you're not done. You got to go dunk 2 balls in another place that the game tells you about, and then you're done. All you need after that is a buddy to do it with. It's super fast to do, man.
It is.
Yeah, so you have to complete 3 full runs of the overthrow activity in the Pale Heart. Each run must be completed in a different location, so you have to do the landing, the blooming, and the impasse. After you defeat the final boss in each overthrow activity, you have 5 minutes to defeat taken enemies in the area before the next one begins. Once you defeat all 3 secret keepers in an area, head toward the green beam of light in the refraction region. Defeat all the enemies there, kill 2 subjugators, pick up the orbs, bring them to the Savathun's frozen statue and deposit them. And then you can complete the Duel of Destiny mission, and that's the one that sort of you need to play with another person. Like it's not. Is it not?
You don't have a choice. You have to. They won't even let you start it without another person. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like it's not soloable. Is it match made, or do you need to go find another human to do this with?
You have to find another human. Yeah,
but you can use Fireteam Finder. It is in the Fireteam Finder because I saw an Atlas Across video where he actually looked it up, and it's actually Destiny Bungie have put it in the Fireteam Finder as a thing to kind of do.
Yeah, I also laughed this week because Bungie put out an email basically being like, "Hey guys, remember Fireteam Finder exists?" Because a lot of people are moaning that they can't solo it; they have to go find another person. Boo-hoo! Find a random blueberry for 5 minutes, or grab somebody that you meet in an LFG for 5 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever it is.
There's a lot of communication in there.
Well, you can do it without talking. It's just fat. Well, no, actually, no. Come to think of it, the last part you do need to talk because by the time you type the clock in the chat, it's already reset itself.
And I saw a video from Sticky MZ who discovered a crystal as you go through, and if you shoot the crystal, it extends the time because there's a timer on this one. We were talking about timers last week and how much we enjoyed them. Yeah, there's a timer in there. And you can find these hidden crystals and shoot them, and they give you extra time. So
there's also a witch. When you get to about 1 minute left, there's a witch that'll spawn. You kill her. That also extends your time.
Ah, there you go.
I'm not happy about this timer nonsense, and I'm not even there yet.
Well, I'm telling you, the timer's a non-issue. I mean, yes, is there a timer? Yes, but every time we finish it, we have like anywhere between 15 to 25 minutes left on the timer. It's not
it's a good timer. But the good thing is, once you've got your exotic class item, you don't necessarily need to go back into the Dual Destiny unless you want to kind of farm it like Respawn's been doing. You can just get them randomly to drop in like overthrow missions. So that's cool.
And I think we all know that my luck is not that great. So I'm assuming the drop rate is kind of high because I have found 2 in the overworld by doing these overthrow activities, right?
Yeah.
I've done 7 overthrow activities, and in the chest, not the overthrow chest, but just chests in the area.
Yeah.
I have gotten two class items out of 7 runs. Now, 7 runs, each run takes a minute. I get that. But it's like, I mean, I got that more often than I got like an exotic not cipher. Exotic what the hell do they call it? Ingram. I got that more than the exotic Ingram in the same time frame, right? So I'm assuming they've got a higher drop rate than some of the other stuff that's in the game. Because like I said, I've already gotten 2 just farming around, But you do have to get it first. And I do recommend watching the video for at minimum the clock encounters, because I have 2 clock encounters and Bungie throws you for a loop. Because the first encounter, you have to look at what's not lit, right? And then compare the two and then shoot which ones you guys don't have. So you have to shoot what neither one of you have. And then the second clock encounter, you both have to shoot the one you do have in common. So Bungie tries to twist you up because that's why I failed my first run.
That's why you
We're
need
sitting there at the
communication.
clock trying to get that to work. What?
That's why you need some communication in there.
Exactly. And the
Yeah.
first one, you have plenty of time to communicate. But that second one, the clock only flashes for like 10 seconds or something like that. And then it goes away and resets to a different. So you have to, hey, I have 12, 1, 3, and 4. Okay, 4's common. Boom, shoot it, right? And that's about all the time you get before it resets itself. It is crazy fast. But despite that, it's actually not hard, guys. It's really not. I could run y'all through that easy peasy.
I
I've been
wouldn't
running
know
all
because I'm
kinds of
not
people
there
through it.
yet. I'm not even sure I've killed any of the secret bosses in the overthrow because I was just doing the overthrows, not knowing what else I needed to do with them. Honestly, I was doing the overthrows, then going to collect my prismatic bits. Going, oh, go over here and stand on this icon, and you'll get one of the light or dark prismatic things done. So I was running around doing that. Again, just roaming around because I've been trying not to watch every last video coming out and every guide going. I just want to enjoy this after having 6 months of Destiny going, you've done everything, wait for the final shape. I'm just trying to go enjoy it and then go, if I have to play it again, I have to play it again. Because I really enjoy the, like, it sort of reminds me of like the original Destiny video for like D1 where it's like, hey, you're out in the world and just going and fighting things. That's how the overthrow activities feel. That's how sort of like a big patrol activity. I sort of, miss the feeling of going, hey, just go over here and now, hey, you can start this fight, you can start that fight, or you can just roam around and look at the scenery, or just go collect chests, or just, say, hey, there's a thing over here I want to go do. Let me go make my way over to it.
So, Peroty, for you, the first area that you get to, where you have like the fountain in the middle and that big rope bridge that goes 3 different directions, right?
Sure.
From your spawn point, where you spawn in on that map, right? You look straight ahead of you, there's that little bridge, and then slightly to the right, there's that rope bridge thing that suspends itself, right? With a little island in the middle. You know what I'm talking about?
No, but okay.
Okay. So basically, from your spawn point, you go straight.
I'm going to watch a video because I'm not going to remember this, but you can still tell me if you want to.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you said you were doing it right now, so I was just going to tell you while you were in the area where the witches spawn.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not doing it. No, I'm not doing it right now.
Oh, okay. I thought you were. My bad.
I'm podcasting.
I'm driving. No, actually, I'm parked now. We're at the hotel. But
if you do need a guide, there will be one in the show notes from Fallout Place that goes over the whole thing to explain exactly what you need to do, where, and things. So better than listening to Respawn, you can go and watch a video.
They are so good, though, guys. I'm telling you. My brother, on his first run, and so far only run, got what I believe was one of the Titan God rolls for like the melee punch. I think one roll heals you on melee kill. The other roll empowers your melees. And then he's running the consecration. So I'm like, good God, dude. Amazing.
Yeah, that's just dumb.
Yeah.
You know what is good fun though? The sword. The sword's a lot of fun.
Word.
I've gotten one. What do you
Ergo
mean?
Sum.
There is only one sword,
yeah.
And specifically 8 different versions of that sword. The insectoid grenade versions of that sword, great fun, makes me giggle. The wolf pack round with the sword, honestly, seemed a little underwhelming to me.
That's arguably the worst roll you can get, is the insectoid bots.
I don't know. They were running around and chasing things, and I was giggling the whole time. And then I have the arc conductor one that I just got to drop, so I haven't played with yet.
That's amazing. That's going to be your mainstay, 100%.
It makes me want to use a sword. It may not be because it's not void, and the other 2 are void. So I also appreciate having a sword of different things, because again, Precious Scars running a void super, so I need a void weaponry. And it's just stupid to lay into things with swords and then have grenades and wolfpack rounds come out of.
Yeah.
Well, your wolfpack round is void, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
okay, yeah.
You don't. Yeah, it goes on. You say that, but it's on any kind of flavor. So you can have Gathering Light.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is, because somebody was pointing out that the arc, the arc conductor and the lightning are only ever arc, right?
Okay.
The the one where you hold the shield and it builds up stacks or whatever is only on solar. The Sacred Flame, I think it's called. And then the ignition is only on solar, right? So then the last couple would have to be void only because we have the arc, we have
Nope.
the solar, so the
Nope.
last ones would have to be void.
Nope. So I've got
Really?
Gathering Light, which is final blows with this weapon grants stacks of Gathering Light, improving your guard stats, and lunge range. Stowing this
Yeah.
weapon consumes all stacks, granting melee, grenade, and class ability energy. And that is on a what one have I got there? That's on a solar. Then I have the perfect fifth.
That's what I said.
which-
It was on a solar. Yeah,
No,
so that
yeah.
tracks.
Every fifth hit attaches a delayed solar explosion, scorching your target, and that's
Should
on
also be
solar.
solar.
The
Yeah.
Insector robots, defeating a target drops an Insector robot that
Void.
chases and explodes close to other targets. Yeah, that's void. Sacred Flame, which is powered
Solar.
heavy attacks mark nearby targets, causing them to explode upon death. Striking marked targets with a light attack detonates them, and that is on solar.
Mhm.
Wolfpack rounds, I have powered heavy attacks, cause nearby
Also
sword
void.
wielders to emit tracking missiles with every attack on solar. And then I
Really?
have
Oh, okay.
Then I have the arc conductor, which is on the arc weapon. So yeah, you can get multiple of these. You can get different perks on different weapons.
On different flavors.
Some of them, some of them
that's
may be
nice.
locked. Like the arc one may be locked to arc.
Yeah.
I can't confirm that it isn't because I haven't found another arc one. I've only got that one arc. But yeah, the
Yeah,
Wolfpack rounds
same.
I've got on solar, but I have heard it's on other ones as well. So
Yeah. Well, that's what I was wondering because again, I've got the Wolfpack rounds, but it's on void. So I figured
Yeah.
they weren't locked to their original, their original damage type. So that's interesting. Yeah.
And the same with like the frames as well. So you can have the lightweight, you can have the wave, you can have the vortex, you can have aggressive, you can have caster.
Yeah, there's something stupid about a Wolfpack round vortex frame sword that makes me it makes me happy. And the wave, my insectoid robots are the wave frame. So we have the wave, and then we have a little robot that follows.
Yeah, I've got
in case the wave misses you.
I've got an Insector wave frame and an Insector vortex. So yeah, I think you can get like different frames as well. So at the moment, I've got 10 that I'm just holding on to find out which one's the best one for me.
Of course,
Yeah, I'll hold on to every one of them too, unless I get dupes. I hear that. But like the sword mod on our artifact, where it refunds sword ammo based on multi kills. If you have Arc Conductor, and right now Caster Frame seems to be the meta, but you have Arc Conductor and Caster Frame, you spend 4 ammo to sling it out. You kill a couple enemies, it gives you 3 back, and because Arc Conductor lasts for kind of a while, you can proc that 2, sometimes even 3 times to get 3, 3, and 3 back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not only are you refunding the sword ammo that you've spent, in good cases, especially like for example the first encounter of the raid where there's a lot of ads, you're getting more ammo than what you've spent. So the ammo economy with that mod and that specific type of sword is phenomenal for ad clear.
Yeah.
It's almost not even fair.
I've been using the heavy swords as well. So I've got like the Temptation's Hook, which is the arc one. I've got the Solar Scar, which is the solar one. And then I've got the Chivalric Fire, which is the void one. And they all come with Relentless Strike. So landing 3 light attack hits within a short time grants sword ammo. So you do that as well as the heavy one. And you're just the heavy. I've got heavy bricks all over the floor. I've got green ammo bricks all over the floor, and I'm just constantly just swording, which is why I haven't moved away from my sword build yet. I'm like,
have you used the Stasis new sword yet?
The what?
There's a new sword for Stasis, right? It's a caster frame, but where it hits, it drops a pool of radial area, right?
Oh, is that the new found? Is that the Echo stuff?
Echo? Yes.
Echoes, yes.
Yes. So I've been using that in a lot of my raid encounters because for some reason swords are the meta in a few of these encounters, and I'm like, okay, whatever. So I also have the radial area mod from the artifact, which makes radial area pulls last longer. So I sling it out of boss.
Is the name of that sword.
That yes. So I sling that at the boss. It hits him, and he's standing in radial area taking damage. So you get the initial hit, which does do damage. Then you have the radial area pull, which also does damage. And then you have Relentless Strikes and Whirlwind Blade on my particular roll, right? So I'm sitting there whack, 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 getting the ammo back while he's standing in the pool of radial area. Every 6 hits, I put another pool under him, keep whacking away. And it's kind of fun, dude. So
yeah, I need that one.
to try
That one
Mr.
can
Ford
round out
Bill.
my energies.
Exactly.
So you're telling me I should use this one I have with the Cold Steel and Relentless Strikes on it, so I can put radial area under you while freezing you at the same time?
Oh, and you have Relentless Strikes? That sounds super good, Peroty.
Let's take that one out of the vault.
And don't forget the mod for the artifact. Put that on too, so the pool lasts longer.
Oh, always. The moment I can throw things in pools, I'm just going to start giggling the entire time.
I do need a
and then you have
new
that
strand
sword.
one. I need the Dragon Cult Sickle, which is from the dungeon. I've only got one of those, which is a bit naff, but I have it just in case. I can swap it out.
I did the dungeon yesterday, and to tell you how wrong Prismatic is.
Which the dungeon?
The one he's talking about.
Warlord's
Ruin.
Ruin.
Okay.
Yeah. I
So
went in
both
there
you
with
said
my
the dungeon and
Prismatic
going,
double
which one?
Goldie. Yeah. I went in there with Prismatic double Goldie with 2 Titans with the throwing axe Twilight thing, right?
Very on brand. Mm-hmm.
And oh yeah, I just realized that. Shut up. Anyway, at the end of the encounter, I did 7 million damage by myself, and that's with missing some goldies, right? It was by no means a perfect run. And the 2 Titans behind me, the closest one to me was 2.9 million. I did more than double damage with a double goldie build. I was like, good God, man.
And if you hadn't, you'd have been a letdown.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, for real, but
that's your job. Yeah. The new super is very fun. I don't know how strong it actually is. Like I'm sure people are doing the damage testing, and it doesn't feel that strong. It feels satisfying. I'm just beside myself with joy. I don't have to walk up to a boss and like look him in the eye and punch him in the face to do a super. Like I'm super happy to have
pretty strong.
To have a set and forget. Like it. I mean, it's strong, but it doesn't feel like this. I mean, it's my go-to.
Well, it's
again,
like a one and done,
range
though.
for one. Yeah, well, one and done unless you can get to those other axes, which is hit and miss. But yeah, it's nice just to have the option finally.
Because whenever we're doing the class item thing, if I pop Goldie, right, I could severely hurt the Tormentor. But when my brother pops his axes, he kills it. I'm like, golly, what? Right? And at least from that, I mean, it could be a perspective thing, but it looks like his burst is stronger than the Golden Gun burst. And that's without grabbing his axes to continue damage, But I don't know how it works. He says sometimes he misses some of them, so I guess it's like a one at a time kind of thing.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. You spawn like you jump in the air or whatever. It's just like the blade barrage. If you were like throwing 3 blade barrages, you're doing 1, 2, and 3, and you can aim them, but you can also absolutely miss them, or you can throw it. I swear, right through something, and it'll still go. No, you missed them. You actually put it over here, not over there. Which I don't know if it's my poor gameplay, a bug, or a little of both. And I'm perfectly happy to agree that it's any of those things, probably on me.
Yeah, but until I see damage testing, I think that thing's probably on par with Goldie, if not better.
Well, I have seen people talking about like when they I think it was in the raid, they were talking about using the axes to start off with the encounter to take down do the first wave of the boss damage. So the Titan would pop the axes, everybody would grab an axe, and they would keep constantly throwing them out and doing extra damage rather than using their heavy for one round. So then that way they can the Titan can then build up their super again, and then everybody can kind of use heavy on the next one and maybe the next one, and hopefully some heavy will drop, because apparently it's kind of hit and miss whether you get some ammo to drop. So that's what
the raid is super stingy with heavy. Oh my goodness.
So that's what people have been doing, is using the Titan super with the axes to get a damage phase done, so that they don't kind of waste all their heavy to start off with, and they get to kind of whatever phase, and they can't use any heavy because they haven't got anything. So use the Titan super to start off with, grab the axes, use the axes, then use heavy, and then hopefully by the time the next wave kind of comes around that you need the Titan to pop his super again, he's hopefully got his super again, or they've got their super again. Sorry, not he.
But yeah, I mean, it's I think it's pretty cool. And then as a hunter, I'm like, ooh, I found a thing.
But we did get some feedback on the Two Titans this week regarding the dungeon, because there was a little bit of confusion. I think sometimes people do forget this, that every season there are two dungeons that are the kind of, one is Pinnacle and one is like the dungeon for the week. And that's the thing that rotates. So we do have a Pinnacle dungeon that is always up until the next new dungeon kind of comes in. So the Warlord's Ruin is the Pinnacle dungeon that will always be there until we get a new dungeon. And that'll probably be the next kind of episodes that we kind of get. But this week is Spyro the Watcher, and I think it was Leon Atkins that was on YouTube was saying that he couldn't find it or couldn't see why, if it was dropping any pinnacles. But I did go back and check, and yes, it was the Spyro the Watcher this week is pinnacle drops. So yeah, it's sometimes it's a bit confusing because when I do the videos, I say the pinnacle or the rotator for this week is X, Y, and Z, and I never kind of speak about the Warlord's Ruin or whichever kind of the dungeon is, because it's just always there. It's a bit like Crota's End at the moment, or last season was the raid. Now we've got the new raid, which will always drop the pinnacles, and then Crota's will go into the rotation of the other like raids, and I think it'll be in about 5 weeks' time when it becomes the pinnacle raid for the week, where you kind of have to do all the challenges and that will drop pinnacles and extra stuff. So yeah, I just thought I'd kind of throw that out there.
Yeah, because that's something I definitely just forget about going, oh yeah, it's up all the time.
Yeah.
And you could go do it.
And it's the same with the raids, isn't it? Because we've now got the new raid, the Salvation's Edge, and then we've got the featured raid for the week, which at the moment I think is Garden of Salvation. So you have to go and locate that, unless the raids in the Legends tab. So yeah, we always have 2 raids and 2 dungeons up each week, and one is on a rotator,
and one is not. And this week is double Salvation. You can go enjoy the garden or go right to the edge of the Salvation. It's your choice.
And the other feedback we got this week over on YouTube was from Mellow Manic, and I think he's talking about Respawn, saying that the guy gets most upset about Cade and Zavala. And I think this was going on about what you were saying last week, Respawn, about Cade's story with Crow, a little bit of a bromance, and Zavala's. He says your understanding seems so shallow. Think deeper. Cade is different. He's pure light, like an angel. So maybe that's why he's nice and forgiving towards Crow, I guess. There's more than there seems. And then he says, Zavala isn't himself either. He's lost faith because of the witness influence. And there was other people that have been talking about this. I think it was Ty Guy Travis. He either said it on the Last Word podcast or on the Fireteam chat. He wasn't happy with Zavala's arc as well. So he kind of agreed with like my initial thoughts about it. And it was a bit jarring hearing Keith David. But as I said, you think about it, it's one of those things that, yes, and you mentioned it last week, they did do that kind of storyline before in season of the, was it season?
Whichever one had title. Yeah.
Yeah, but the one where we had the Dreadnought not the Dreadnought, the one we had the Leviathan come back, and we kind of went through the haunted stories.
Season of the Haunted.
Season of the Haunted, yeah.
There we go. We figured that one out. Yeah, so a lot of people said, and I think Ty Guy Travis was saying the same things that you were saying last week, Respawn, that we had Zavala's story kind of, he went through all those different things, and so did the Crow as well. And we thought that they were kind of rectified back in those storylines, and then we get to the final shape. And I think he gave it a 9.5 out of 10, like the whole of the final shape as his review. But he said the things that, there was loads of good things, but the nitpick things were the Zavala storyline and the kind of the tempting of the other characters. So we had the Crow, which was kind of done off screen, that he was tempted and then kind of refused it. The same with Ikora, she was tempted and refused it. But then we had this kind of whole thing with Zavala, and he was tempted and he kind of went with it. And I kind of get where everybody's kind of coming from with this. And I know we discussed it last week, but I just wanted to kind of go back over it, because I think there's a lot of people that have now come out and said that they weren't happy with it. And I think with Zavala, it kind of made sense that he was doing that, because his faith had kind of waned ever since the Witch Queen, because where the Traveller gave the light to the Hive, I think that's where I think he was like, he lost faith in the Traveller. And even though he kind of resolved that in the Season of the Haunted, I think in the back of his mind that it still kind of played on him. And I know people were saying that it's one of those things that, you know, it was resolved then. So why has he kind of gone and done it again? But in real life situations, people do things like that. You think that you've cured somebody of drinking, and the next minute they've fallen back off the wagon, they're drinking again. It's like, why go back and do that? And I think with story, I think with what Bungie were trying to do is that Bungie wanted to kind of throw a curveball in there of, you think it's resolved, but it's not. Zavala is the one that's kind of being turned. And I think that's the only reason why they chose Zavala again, to kind of be the person that kind of was swayed. I don't think there was any other kind of underlying factors to it apart from that they just wanted to throw another curveball in there for a kind of story beat. And I think people have taken it the wrong way.
Yeah. I mean, there's something about this has been our steadfast leader from the beginning. This almost, unimpeachable, pure, holy good being of, positivity and light and everything else. But then, in season, before, I'm sure, and then in Season of the Haunted, it was like, but this is still a deeply broken man. This is someone who's been around for a long time, who's got a lot of trauma, and, seeing just another world-ending cataclysmic event in the Witness showing up, and, the Pale Heart and all of this other stuff, and going into the Traveler, just, even if it's just, the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back, just one more bad, once in a lifetime world-ending cataclysm going.
Yeah.
I can only hold out for so long, and now it's time to take, your morals get tested, your abilities get tested. I mean, Zavala is a very human character. He's not this like supreme being of good and light and positivity. He's just a guy who's dealt with a lot and is doing his best to hold it together. And sometimes you don't.
Yeah,
like
it felt multiple times you don't. Multiple times you. That's what I'm trying to say, is that it's not like we dealt with it in Season of the Haunted and it was all kind of fixed and that's it. We can't ever go back to it. Why can't we ever go back to it? Why? The same reason, I suppose. You can go back to Cade. Cade could come back again. There could be another way of bringing Cade back. We don't know, but it's just one of those things of that's the story that we've kind of. That Bungie wanted to kind of tell. And I think with them thinking, hey, no, if Zavala's the one that turns, that'll really throw everybody for a loop. And I think that's the only reason they did it, for the story beat.
The thing is my huge complaint about the Zavala is not the fact that we've already had the storyline. We have, but that's not my big thing. It's how he reacted. He reacted almost like a spoiled child, Even if he was having these emotional things happen into him, Zavala, I don't think, would have reacted. Y'all can go to the room until I give you the keys, babe. I don't think he would have reacted the way that he did. That's my huge hang-up, is Zavala is the rock of the Vanguard. When Cade died, you saw how staunch he was. He knew stuff was going bad. He knew that things were happening, but he still did his best, at least on the surface, to keep his composure, regardless of what turmoil was happening under the skin. But for him to act like a petulant child, and the thing that really got me was how he talked to Ikora, right?
Yeah, you said, yeah.
That was inexcusable to say that, because she did not suppress her emotions. She was going to rain hellfire after what happened to Cade, and he had the nerve to tell her that, like, I'm paraphrasing, but basically she suppresses her emotions or whatever because she's a warlock. That got me, especially after all that they've been through. So you know what I mean?
Would you have been? Would you have kind of not liked this story, but kind of gone with the story a bit more if we hadn't already had the story in the Haunted? Or the other way of saying it is that if they're testing the Crow again, and if they're testing Ikora with being tempted, would you have liked to have seen more of kind of how they were tempted and they turned it down, rather than kind of an off-screen kind of resolution, and then we kind of got Zavala turning?
It's hard to go back with the knowledge I've already got, but I think seeing him lose his composure like this wouldn't have been as impactful if I hadn't already seen him go through this. So I think you might be right. Right?
Yeah.
I've already seen how he dealt with the trauma of his past. Did it hurt him? Absolutely. And he was very upsetty spaghetti. But he dealt with it because he knew he had other responsibilities. That's why, in the end, he never actually shot his ghost, even though he thought about it, because he knew other people counted on him. For that Zavala to turn into this petulant child that he was in this story arc, regardless of how good or bad you think Keith Davis was, I don't think they did Zavala himself good with how he reacted.
I don't think it had anything to do with the voice actor. I think just that the timing of the voice actor change is just gives that extra jarring feeling of this character changing like tact basically. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of bring it up that, you know, somebody in the chat was saying, you know, you need to think deeper. And then a lot of other people on other podcasts and from what I've been hearing in the community actually agree with us what we were saying about it being jarring and the kind of the same kind of thing happened with him again. But like I said, things happen to people multiple times. You know, how many times you can get people into drug rehab, alcohol rehab, gambling addiction, you know, people still fall off the wagon and go back and do these different things. And you could do everything that you wanted to kind of do. And they could be, but they could be perfect up until that point. And then they could just have that one moment, that one thing that kind of tempts them again. And then they're back off the wagon. It's kind of, I think that's what kind of gave Zavala a little bit of humanity in the story that, you know, Bungie went, hey, we could go. I mean, it wouldn't have made sense with Ikora because, as we were saying, and a lot of other people have said, there has kind of been no build-up for Ikora to kind of do that. Maybe the Crow, but then Crow's kind of come to his own kind of resolution within himself for several kind of seasons that we've kind of resolved. But then Zavala was they were kind of backed into a corner with putting Zavala out there. But then it does kind of make sense, sort of, with Zavala. Because you couldn't really do it with Cade.
You can only suppress your emotions. Go ahead.
No, you started. I'm sorry. There was a delay. Go ahead.
All good. I mean, like with Zavala, I mean, you can only put on that brave face and sort of, you know, keep it together for the family for so long before that takes its toll on you. And this felt like Zavala finally hit the point where he couldn't put on that brave face and keep it together for the family anymore. And, you know, he finally hit his breaking point. And this is where we are. Like it felt very real to me because it's like, you know, he held it together, and finally couldn't hold it together anymore. And now we are where we are. It also, I kept watching that scene of him, you know, in that, and again, at this point, I'm going to assume, you know, light spoilers for the Excision cutscene before the mission. But there, you know, there's a moment where Zavala again succumbs to the darkness, wields stasis, and you see that fist starting to change, not into an arc fist, but into an ice fist. And I kept thinking back to one of the Thor films of Thor basically using that, you know, using his arc fist where it's very much the same thing. Like he used the arc fist on the bridge, and it's very much like, right around. Thank you. I was trying to remember the name of which film. And it was very much that same, like, I'm going to go rain hell down upon you with this arc fist. And at the time, I remember talking about this going, this felt very much like an Arc Titan jumping up and going, I'm going to take this arc fist and, you know, just destroy everything. And I watched that, and I watched him do this, and I'm going, this seems very reminiscent of that scene in that trailer for Thor Ragnarok, which also was playing in my brain the whole time, which had just another little weird twist in my head.
You're talking about Cade being an angel. I don't think I was being shallow. I understand Cade forgives Crow. I called that a long time ago, right? But forgiving and training him to be the new Vanguard is very different from what I think actually happened. He acted like they were immediately best friends, you know? And I'm just like, right? Cade might be a live and let live kind of guy, but he wouldn't be best friends with a guy that shot him in the face, even if he knew that he was corrupted at the time. Because even before he had that whole corruption, they weren't exactly friends when he was still Aldrin. So, you know?
No. But that being said, the game was phenomenal. It's still phenomenal. I'm enjoying playing it so much. There's so much to do. I haven't even touched Echoes this week. I'm still doing stuff in the Pale Heart. I'm still kind of working towards getting my Kvostov. I want to get that done before I move into Echoes, because from what I've heard from Echoes is that it's not this kind of everything's dropping all at once. It is still kind of week by week, which means that I can kind of pick it up in the next couple of weeks and kind of run with it and do whatever I kind of need to do. And I was looking on they've got an Echoes page as well. That doesn't want to kind of pop back up, but it's disappeared now for me. I was looking on the Echoes page on Bungie, and they go over kind of the acts. So we've now got Act 1 that's going to be available until the 8th of October. We've got Act 2, which starts on the 16th of July, and Act 3 that starts on the 27th of August. So yeah, we've got everything going until the 8th of October. But they'll be opening those up each kind of month, I guess. Yeah. Have you guys played any of the new stuff for the Echoes, or have you kind of still been focused on doing Pale Heart stuff and Final Shape?
Just the initial mission they loaded me into whatever day I got on this week to play for a little bit, and they were like, "Hey, we're going to Nessus now." Where you turn on the you turn on the game, and the game's like, "We're going here." So I played that, like the initial activity, the breach executable. Had no idea what I was doing. Murdered a lot of things. The two blueberries I was with were picking up the data or whatever and dunking them somewhere. So cleared it very quickly. Murdered everything in sight. Didn't really understand what I was doing, and I was like, "I'll come back to you later. We'll figure this whole thing out in a minute."
Yeah, that's what Blue said to me. He jumped into it and he was playing it and doing it. He's like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know. I'm following these people and they're doing stuff. I'm just going to go with it. I was like, oh, that's good. I mean, I loaded in to my Warlock and my Hunter, which haven't done the Final Shape. So it doesn't kind of eject you straight into the Echoes, which was quite nice. But my Titan, it went, you're going to go and do Echoes. And I went, no, I'm not. I'm kind of came back off my Titan, then reloaded back on my Titan, and I went off and did my own stuff. I'm like, you can think that I'm going to be forced into that activity and not know what I'm doing, but I've got other plans.
Eventually, you're going to have to go in, and they don't really explain it to you. Like, the same thing happened to me. Like, you're running out doing stuff. I'm standing in a beam of light because it's a beam of light, and then I'm getting booped up and damaged. But I see other people standing in the light. I'm like, and it was one of the guys from our Discord, and I was like, he goes, just dunk the things. I'm like,
nobody can hear you.
Where am I dunking? Where am I dunking? When am I dunking?
Pick up the little cubes and take them somewhere. I have to appreciate, though, with all of this Final Shape activities, even though, again, they're not doing anything with the Gambit really, except for making you go play it for strange coins for Xur, unless you want to go into trials. But they're turning every activity into a version of Gambit, of go kill the thing, pick up the thing, and bank it somewhere. So I appreciate, Gambit has now bled its way into the entire rest of the game. They're going, listen, we're not going to give you Gambit. We're just going to make you play Gambit in every other activity, and you're going to like
including the exotic class item. And you'll see what I'm talking about when you play.
See, there you go. Everything is Gambit now. Everything is Gambit.
And like, even if you were going to pick up let's say you had to pick up an energy source to do a thing, they're always in the shape of the damn Gambit. Motes.
Everything's a moat. It's all moats all the way down.
You were saying, Demon?
How are you guys finding your whatchamacallit? The not the prism thing, not prism.
Prismatic?
No, not prismatic. The
first word sounds like
the reward track thing. I can't remember what it's called.
Pathfinder.
The seasonal pass? Oh, Pathfinder.
Yeah, Pathfinder. So how are you guys finding your Pathfinders?
The one from Pale Heart already gave me another Ergo Sum sword, so I think it's delightful.
You get 2 of those per week, by the way, Peroty, by doing that.
Well, there we go. Now I can get another one. Yeah, no, I thought it was great because I have paid zero. Yeah, I've paid zero attention to it. I've just been playing the activity and was like, oh, boop, 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 boop. Oh, new sword. Okay, boop, 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 boop. We can do this again. I like that it's just passive and I can sort of ignore it. Yeah, I mean, at some point I need to look at it, like look at the non-Pale Heart version and go do some Crucible and Gambit and things like that done. But I appreciate the Pale Heart one. I could just do the entire first thing without really ever looking at it to see what they were. I was just completing activities, getting killed with the new weapons, and it was done.
Yeah.
So it's nice, and it was nice to go. Oh, I got to the end. Let's just reset it, and then here's a new set of things to go do. So I like sort of the randomness and the hey, go get some kills with this, things I may not use normally, or hey, we're going to encourage you to use all these new sidearms we've been throwing at you left, right, and center. Hey, go grab this new sniper rifle we handed you. Go play with it and get kills this way.
But no, building onto the Pale Heart one specifically, I love how you don't have to complete one thing to get credit for another, right? So if you don't have the one node that connects the rest, it will still complete the rest for you as you go along. You just need to finish that one to connect the whole thing. I think that's cool, right? It's very well done. The way Pale Heart did it was beautiful. The way everything else is, it's awful. And then, because there's a lot of people like me that hate Crucible, they're like, oh, you can do this in private matches. Bungie's like, no, you can't. I'm just like, of all the things, dude. Really?
Wait for Mayhem to come up, and then you can play it then. Play the doubles with a friend and go, listen, we're both going to suffer together and have a good time with it. There's at least now there's enough different Crucible modes where there's something you can go into and at least have a decent time with. I just love that after the making a point, hey guys, we're not going to have any seasonal challenges for Gambit in Season of the Wish. They threw a bunch of Gambit things like toward the end where you have to do some Gambit.
Almost every time the last
about that.
Crucible, almost every time.
I know. I love it.
I think the last two should be the do anything nodes, the little stars, right? The last two should absolutely be those stars. Full stop, right? The one before that, where there's three, you should have one of each. One Vanguard, one Gambit, one Crucible. That way you can take your path. And then all the ones before that, completely random, completely fine. Right?
Where are you in the room now?
You've fallen into a well. Come back from the well.
Oh wow! So now I know which earphone has my mic on it. That's good to know. I have the wireless earphones, and I just took one off to scratch my ear, and I thought the other one would pick up the mic. Turns out, no. Anyway, but so yeah, the last nodes always have to do Gambit Crucible, and I don't like that. Right? So not a fan of that. But aside from that, I think the whole idea of you having one track to do everything was fine. They just need to separate it for your Vanguard, your Crucible, or your Gambit, right? And segregate those out. And I know it's obviously lazy programming, put everything into one, but I think they should take the time and segregate them. Because people that don't like Crucible don't want to do Crucible. People that don't like Gambit don't know if there's any people out there like that exist, but they don't want to do Gambit, right? So,
nobody wants to do Vanguard. I never want to touch the Vanguard node again. Onslaught's there now, so that's at least a saving grace. But
but you do Nightfalls. Nightfalls counts for Vanguard, and it counts for the track.
Eventually when there's something I care about. But now they've given me the weapons I want long enough that I don't have to go back in for a while. And one thing before we get too far away from the everything is Gambit now, I just want to remind people that on your class mod or on your class armor piece, you can put the Powerful Attraction armor mod on there, which automatically collects nearby orbs of power when you activate your class ability. It also works for Gambit modes, data mine things, like basically anything you can pick up. It'll automatically collect those as well. Modes of Light, in Gambit, Crests and Supremacy, basically anything on the ground will also collect from a little further away. So if you are playing something that involves collecting a bunch of things, the Powerful Attraction class item mod does help, and it does stack. So just something out there, along with the put the combo detectors on when you're running around the Pale Heart to see the chests. Run those around when you're trying to do any activity involving collecting things.
Oh, that's
Demon,
awesome.
What do you think about Pathfinder?
I like I haven't done the main one, but I've done the Pale Heart one over and over and over again, just randomly running around doing stuff on the Pale Heart. It's gone, oh, by the way, you need to come and click stuff because you've done stuff. And I've clicked it and joined the dots and got the thing. And I've done it about 4 times in one day. And I wasn't kind of set out to kind of do it. And then I got a triumph for it of doing it like 3 times in 1 week. I was like, I didn't think I'd ever get that done because I thought, Yeah, I honestly didn't think, but I wish that the other one had more kind of, if you're on a destination, you can kind of complete it just from being on a destination. If you want to kind of go off and do patrols, or if you want to go off and do public events and things, it's not kind of restricted to just doing Gambit, Vanguard, and Crucible. But yeah, it is what it is, and it is kind of the first iteration of it. But did you guys see the secret one that kind of popped up this week? I don't know if it popped up for you guys, but I did see somebody else made a video on it. Of it was a really weird thing, because I clicked on the Prismatic, not the Prismatic, I clicked on the Pathfinder for the Pale Heart, and it came up with this other one that was to do with Lost Sectors, and all it had was Lost Sector icons all the way up here. And I was like, that's strange. Where's this? And kind of came off of it and then couldn't find it again because I wanted to get the other one. Now, I don't know if that happened with you guys.
No,
I'm not even sure what you're talking about. What?
Yeah. The only time I've looked at the Pathfinder again was like to complete it because I realized I hadn't looked at it, and a bunch of things had. I've been running around doing the overthrows and going, oh, it's popping up. Oh, Pathfinder this, Pathfinder that. So I was like, I might as well go look at it. But no, I haven't looked at it a second time, other than clearing the first one and going, oh, I get another sword out of this. Great.
Yeah, I'm just having a look. Yeah, Easy Now made a video on it. It's the new hidden Lost Sector Pathfinder in Destiny 2. I'm just having a quick look on video because it popped up for me as I was trying to do something, and I think other people found it as well. And I don't know if they've got a screenshot of it. Yeah, they have, I think. No.
How do you start it though? How do you make it happen? Because I've completed the Pathfinder multiple times.
Oh, there you go. They've got a screenshot of it. It's literally, it's got icons of Lost Sectors all the way up it, and one of them says complete the Blooming Deep Lost Sector on Master difficulty without a fire team. And I didn't stick around on it. I should have stuck around on it to kind of do a bit of investigation, because I thought, oh, this is a new thing in the game. I'll go back to it in a second and have a look at it. But it looks like 1, 2, 3. There's 4 at the bottom, 3 in the middle, and 2 at the top, and then it all seems to be complete any Pale Heart Lost Sector. And so they're playing around on it in their video. I'll put it in the show notes because it is quite interesting that it suddenly kind of popped up that they've got other Pathfinders hidden in the game. So pretty cool.
Yeah. I saw someone, looks like 8 days ago on Reddit Destiny the Game subreddit, put a behind a spoiler tag. Hey, there's basically the same thing. Here's some screenshots, 3 columns, 9 objectives, for the different Lost Sectors. So and basically they posit too. There's like they basically said, hey, I did a bunch of Pathfinder objectives at once, then loaded the Pathfinder and on the Pale Heart, and that's when they saw the Lost Sector. But then I couldn't get back into it either. So
yeah.
They're like, maybe it gets triggered if you do a bunch at once, but it doesn't seem to be like fully in the game yet. Or maybe it gets unlocked, in one of the acts or in Echoes later on or something like that. But yeah, just the same experience going, we found it. I can't get back to it, but here's some screenshots of it existing.
And I'm loving my new hand cannon, sidearm, the Cool. I managed to get red borders galore for it. So I've unlocked it, leveled it up. It's now on level 26. And I'm just using it throughout because I'm getting so much special to drop and so much heavy to drop. I've put a special on as my main weapon, and then I've got my sword in my secondary and my sword in my heavy, and I'm just not running out of any ammo, and it's pretty cool. And I went with hatchling and beacon rounds, but apparently that's not the role that you need. I've been told that it needs to be something else, and I think it was. Let me have a look at it. It needs to be Golden Tricorn and Subsistence. Apparently, that's what I need.
Yes, but what are you using it for? Because you really want the hatchling.
Everything.
Subsistence hatchling is going to be the way to go.
No, I've gone with beacon rounds and hatchling.
Why does everyone? Okay, beacon rounds do less damage. First of all, you have to aim at the target anyway to hit it. So you might as well just kind of keep aiming at it. You're losing out on damage.
I'm not. It says final blows with this weapon grant your projectiles tracking for an improved duration, and dealing further damage extends the duration.
And
when you equip it, you notice how your blast radius goes down? You're lessening the blast radius to do that.
I
My
don't care
blast
about the blast
radius.
radius. I'm hitting things. What do I care about the radius?
Yeah, because if I hit one thing in the head and then I fire it off into the air to hit one of those flying bat things, and it automatically tracks them and gets them, I'm quite happy because I've got 2 swords at this point. I just need something that's going to trap them.
Shot to kill a bat thing. So by the time you
Oh.
land the one shot, it's already dead. These don't work.
Yes, they do, and don't take my dream away from me.
Oh my god, my brother's squares might become an awful roll, dude.
Maybe I'll swap it.
When in your Destiny playing life would you have ever thought in the final shape your loadout would be sidearm, sword?
Mine is actually the sidearm with the void. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
I'm unfamiliar with the void chunk.
Oh yeah.
The solar chunk, yes.
Void to chunk,
but not the void to chunk.
Void to chunk. It's a two burst pulse rifle. When you kill a thing, there's a big void burst explosion.
Graviton Lance. Lance.
You did know.
No, that is not the chunk. That's the Come on now.
No, it goes chunk.
Yeah, that thing. Right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got it in the end.
This is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's not going to be quick for the future, right?
Yeah. There's so many times recently I've been running around with these loadouts going. If you would have told me that these are the weapons I'm using in the final shape, I would have looked at you and gone, "You're nuts. You're out of your mind." I'm sitting here fighting the Witness's minions with a malfeasance, with a wave frame grenade launcher and a machine gun. I'm going, yeah, sure. Why not?
Speaking of the machine gun, have you tried the new Strand one yet?
No, the Pro Memorial. Is that the new one?
Yeah.
I've got them. See, the problem is, again, I've gotten them to drop, but you see, remember the void things? I'm currently using the Purple Mist, which I think Blue has named the Hammerhead with Killing Tally and Rampage that are enhanced. We just point that at things, and then the mist happens, and then all of our problems are gone. And it's got 75 in the mag. So you just hold that down, and all of your problems are deleted. It's wonderful.
I get that, but for boss DPS, right? Because it doesn't matter if it's void. You're going to be using it to kill the targets that your other void stuff can't kill, right? So having 164 rounds at your disposal that reload as you fire, even if you're not a Titan, and has target lock, dude, it's 720. No,
it's a 600, or at least the one. I mean, the one I have is a 600. What?
Have you two gone quiet?
No.
This thing's alive, and why did you guys just go away?
I don't know, but
you sound weird.
Yeah, you sound very different now.
Yeah, my Discord just freaked out. Let me see if I can.
I need you to walk closer to the kill zone. Yeah, you can give me other hammerheads. I mean, you can give me other machine guns, but I'm very much in love with this current machine gun, and we're having great fun together.
There's nothing wrong with your machine gun, but this one is next level good. Is all I'm saying, you know. And my brother,
if
he
you
had
have
me
a good
do his
roll on
vault
it,
cleaning
maybe.
the other day. Yeah, dude, a reconstruction target lock, absolutely, right?
But they nerfed target lock. Target lock's not good anymore. Says
they
the
nerfed target lock
ear.
on submachine guns only.
Yeah, but the community says they nerfed target lock. Yeah.
Well, community can pound sand. It's phenomenally good, especially on this gun, dude. And because when I start firing off, I think I'm starting at like 2,500 damage, and then by the time I really get it going, I'm doing like 4,300 damage per shot. Or something like that. It's around there. It goes from 2,000 something to 4,000 something, right? And then, like I said, 164 round magazine that periodically loads more rounds into that magazine as you fire. It is next level good. And then my brother had me do his vault cleaning. Don't know why. Shut up. And he goes, "Is this any good?" And he had a hammerhead with rampage and killing tally. I'm like, well, it's the best you can get as far as like 2 damage perks on the same weapon. And he goes, "Dude, for real?" I'm like, yeah, there's like one other gun that can get killing tally rampage or something. I think.
Enhance them and go to town and giggle the rest of the way.
Yeah, and he's a Titan, so he can absolutely put on armamentarium,
You don't even need the armamentarium. It's just ridiculous. You get both of those to ×3, and you're just turning everything into mist. It's lovely.
Yeah, but once you have killing tally, you don't want to reload it. So the armament, not armamentarium, the one that reloads your rounds.
The war pig.
The war pig, that one. I keep saying armamentarium, my bad. The war pig. You stack war pig onto that, and you have killing tally indefinitely. You know. Storyline aside, the weapons and the abilities make this thing bonkers. With my hunter build, the way that it is, I'm going in activities that are way higher than me, and I'm laughing at them. You know, I'm already doing master law sectors.
Cool.
Like,
you're way ahead of me anyway. I'm looking at getting one of those bold endings hand cannons. So, because
which one is that? The strand one, the double shot,
the stasis hand cannon. So it's the one with it's the blue kind of figure on the side of it. The new
one you get from Cade Stash or whatever.
Yeah, the one from Cade.
Yeah.
Because it can roll with Dragonfly and Headstone. So apparently it works a bit like conditional finality. So you can get a Headstone with a Firefly explosion on Solar. So
I have that, but the problem is this. That hand cannon itself, the perks are amazing, but the hand cannon feels so weak. I see other people using it too. I've tried to use it, but I'm like plop, 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 plop.
It's a heavy burst, so I'm going to get one, and I'm going to let you know how it kind of turns out for me, because I'm not really a hand cannon user, but I like the idea of getting something that looks and feels similar to conditional finality.
Yeah.
Without it being an exotic.
I'll try to give it another go, because we have to use hand cannons this season, so I'll try to give it another go. But like, it just feels weak. Like I thought the 2 bursts when I saw that, and I was over the moon. Let's say, right? I was trying to think of so many other phrases, but they're not. Yeah, they just weren't radio friendly for people under 13. But I got it, and then I used it for like multiple missions, and it just felt so weak. I kept having to swap to other guns, like the Red Death, to finish things off, and I don't know. No, maybe it was low light. I have to go back, but it just felt really weak.
My Red Death up yet? I'm way behind with picking things up like that.
Yeah. I mean, you might as well hang on, dude. You don't get the catalyst till a month and a half from now, anyway.
Yeah, but the Red Death is lovely. It's good fun, and was also keeping me alive for talk about survivability. One of the things I was swapping between just to stay alive in different activities, doing the legendary campaign.
Dear sir, have I introduced you to the infinite sword build that I have got going that I don't need a Red Death?
You have, but the problem is that you then have to move at some point, and that's where your plan falls apart.
Mine doesn't.
Does your build work with the exotic arc conductor?
With the Ergo Sum?
Yeah.
Yes.
I've never tried blocking with the Ergo Sum. Is that even an option on that?
Yes, it's a sword.
It's a sword, yeah.
Works I had assumed, but I don't have block bound to anything.
Yeah, I can block with my Ergo Sum, or I can block with my legendary sword, whichever one.
So when can we dual wield, Bungie?
You can sling out. You have caster frame. What's your frame for the arc conductor?
Yes,
it's caster. So you can
it's all of the above.
become just like a Tesla coil, killing everything around you while still blocking.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that build just got so much stronger.
Yeah. But putting all that aside, Peroty did tell us last week that on Monday, Bungie were going to tell us what's happening in the future of Destiny, the future of what is to come. And at the moment, they haven't confirmed Destiny 3, but they have confirmed what is going to be affectionately called Frontiers, or Destiny 2, codename Frontiers.
I don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
Codename, there's more coming, don't worry.
Yes. So
I thought that was DMG being back. That's not what that was? I thought that was DMG's announcement that he's back or whatever.
No, that's again. That's totally unrelated. The DMG is going back to work on the community team, the one that Bungie laid off. entirely.
But he didn't get laid off. I think he quit, didn't he?
No.
Because
Oh yeah,
Oh, gosh.
because of the
Or
situation that Bungie
Yeah, I think- or
allowed
maybe-
to happen with the
maybe
community.
he didn't
Hey,
leave.
guys.
Maybe he didn't quit. Maybe he just kind of took a kind of a long leave away from the whole situation to then
Yeah.
kind of come back later.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Hey, I'm
DMG
gonna have
is
to let
back.
y'all go right now because I'm about to get a crew of like 20 kids in my van. So I'm gonna let y'all go before it gets crazy. So
Okay.
have a great show, and we'll talk more later.
Are you
Will we?
luring them with
Or
puppies and
next week?
chocolate?
Oh, here they come. All right.
That sounds like a yes.
Deuces, guys.
Bye.
Did he let us go, or did we let him go?
So yeah, we got our little Vidoc video, only 5 minutes long. I was expecting something longer. I was sort of like settled in with some popcorn. I was going to go, and take
me
lots of
too.
notes. And
Yeah,
5 minutes.
So you're going, okay, they're going to drop. Again, I wasn't expecting them to be like, oh, here's what's coming, and here's the next 3 expansions, and but like, yeah, more of than them just going. There's going to be more after the first year. It seemed to be that's their answer to. Is there anything past the 3 episodes? Yes.
Yes.
What is it? Frontiers. What's it going to be? Something. More Destiny. So,
Destiny 2, codename Frontiers. I think that maybe we're not going to drop the Destiny 2 thing. It's just going to, if it turns into another game and it's just called Destiny 2 Frontiers and it goes off in a different direction of like taking these characters or taking our story somewhere else, that'd be interesting because they can leave Destiny 2 where it is, and the Echoes, for however long they want to kind of continue the Echoes, could kind of wrap up individual storylines and threads that we've kind of had unraveling since Destiny 1, and then Frontiers could take us off into other directions, basically going off into new universes or galaxies far, far away.
Where no Guardian has gone before.
Exactly. And I did take some notes to breaking it down. So I will put it in the show notes if you want to go and watch it. But they go over year 10, which is episodes are singular stories. They're standalone stories. Episodes are a direct result of the witness, and they spread them across the galaxy. As we all know, Vex are the ones in Echoes. We have a mysterious new enemy, and who is behind it? Ooh, scary looking person that may be tied to kind of Exos and things that we're not sure that what's happening, basically. And for me personally, looking at Echoes at the moment and the trailer they dropped, I think they dropped that on Tuesday before it kind of went live. Nessus is starting to look a little bit more like Venus with all the Vex gates and the kind of the foliage. I mean, you've been in and had a little play with it. What do you think at the moment?
I can tell that somebody watched Assimilation. Is that the film with God, what is her name? I'm drawing a blank now.
Describe it to me.
Running around like seeing all of the like the foliage and stuff as like looking like people, and there was the shimmer. It's got Natalie Portman. Yes, Assimilation or no Annihilation. Sorry, Annihilation. Starring Natalie Portman.
Yep.
Where there's this whole idea of the shimmer, and in this like shimmer on Earth. Spoilers for the 2018 movie that if you haven't seen by now, it came out in 2018. Yeah, but there's this whole thing where basically like there's this area of the shimmer on Earth where it's like it's basically like taking light waves and just sort of stretching them into this shimmering looking sort of rainbowy crystal looking pattern, and inside like things are molecularly being rewritten and changed, and like all of this like foliage and plant life. Like we're running around the Pale Heart, and there's like these shapes of basically people in foliage, in the shrubberies there going, oh, there's a shrubbery human being. Like someone watched Annihilation was like, yes, this is what we want to do, because there's just lots of like that's what playing that initial mission on Nessus reminded me of.
Okay, that's why I was kind of getting that vibe.
Yeah, very much like things are evolving, things are taking shape. There's these earthquakes on Nessus now. It's like something is happening. The Vex are up to no good again. So yeah, it's like clearly something is being terraformed, transformed. Something some big again light spoilers for the mission it dumped you into this week. That if you didn't pull a night demon and jump out of immediately, there's a big hole. Something hit Nessus, and now things are happening, and Vex are coming out. Vex doing Vex things, basically.
Do we think that this is going to wrap up the Vex storyline just in this Echoes, or do we think this is kind of the prelude to more kind of Vex stuff? Because I'm feeling that if they wrap it all up now, it'll be kind of make a mockery of the Vex. I think that it should be kind of the starting block or the stepping off point for telling more Vex stories. And if there is a kind of big bad behind the Vex and they're controlling them, I'd like to kind of maybe keep that for something further on down the line. I don't know about you. How do you feel about it?
I'm with you. I really hope this isn't sort of like the end of the Vex. I mean, I'm excited we get to go follow Osiris and Saint, and we know Saint's has a history with the Vex. So I'm hoping that there's this is sort of the beginning of something more with the Vex, because it's like we know about them, but we don't know about them. So it feels like it's been a long time since we've really dealt with the Vex at all. And again, just sort of curious to see where this takes us. And yeah, I'm hoping this is the beginning of something like something is poking at the Vex, like like they were trying to get into the stupid thing on Neptune. The whole main plot point of the Lightfall campaign, and they were like, we must keep it safe, and they won't tell you what it is.
The Veil.
The Veil, thank you. I could not put my finger on those words at all. Yeah, the words like, the Vex are doing this with the Veil, and it's this network and Neptune and all this. I hope that there's just more, more of that coming. Going, hey, the next, the Vex have been up to something where something's happening on Nessus, and now, that's a hot spot again. Going, hey, it's been quiet here for long enough. Just like we found the Hive, on the moon. Hey, we have found the Vex on Nessus, and something is poking them, prodding them. Now that the Witness has been defeated, now the Winnowers real ticked off about that. Now this is the result of it.
Yeah,
and really, really, if I'm being honest, secretly, I just want to see Saint 14 lay waste to the Vex. Like I just want to have just a little mission where we can go in alongside the Saint unit, as Failsafe calls them, and just lays waste to the Vex, because I just want to see that in action. That's all I really want in my heart of hearts.
Well, next we've got Revenant, which is going to be Fallen themed. It's going to be dark themed, and they say it's Slayer Baron, Vampire Hunters, and Monster Hunters, kind of leaning into the kind of that Vampire Hunter kind of mythos, basically. And we're going to have potion crafting, and we're going to have combat potions, which boost your artifact directly, and loot potions, which give you agency over your reward chasing. And Fikril is back, and Fikril has this staff, and in his staff he normally has a gem, but that's been replaced by an echo, and he's building an army of darkness. So that sounds pretty cool. And he's in a keep that's very vampirish as well.
That's where I expect to find a vampire.
Yeah. And that seems kind of
we
fitting.
don't have our Monster Hunter friend here to rave all about Monster Hunter that he's played.
No. And I think that seems fitting for when we're that one kind of drops, because we're going to get that one at the beginning of October 9th, Revenant will kick off. So that will kind of take us through Halloween and November and December-ish, so kind of in the dark months where we're kind of horror film-ish kind of territory, which is going to be quite nice. They've actually kind of themed it quite nicely. And then we've got Heresy, which is apparently going to mix up the Hive Pantheon. We're going to see new revelations. There's going to be new Eldritch Force bubbling up. We're going to go back to the Dreadnought from Destiny 1 and Destiny 2, sort of. It's going to have a whole new purpose, apparently. We're going to have peeling weapons. So they're going to be looking like they've got bones underneath this skin. And they've got two sets of armor. There's one that's kind of Eris themed, like moon-ish, that we've kind of already had, but look a bit more like Eris. And then there's a Hive ship and navigator armor set. And they mentioned driving the ship and twists and turns. And then after that, we've got Frontiers. So are we taking the Dreadnought for a ride somewhere? Are we going to be utilizing it because our like little warp drives and our ships can't kind of go to other universes and wherever, and the Dreadnought can? Are we going to be piloting it? What do you think?
DRL confirmed. Dreadnought Racing League. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've been wondering. Yeah, just going, if we are gonna, because that's why I was sort of wondering where we're going with, first the Echoes and then now Frontiers from there. It's like, are we, there's there's all of this lore in Destiny history. And they've said, now that we've completed this 10-year Light and Dark saga, it's like, okay, we gave you a 10-year story. That story is wrapped up. Now we're going to tell you, individual standalones, because they made the point these are going to be standalone stories, not part of a bigger epic, not part of a bigger arc. I'm curious to see if we go into the future. Are we going physically to different places? Are we going to leave our solar system, go out into the larger, I won't say larger world, but larger universe, and Star Trek style and boldly go where no Guardian's gone before? Are we going to move through time and go back to the collapse and see some of those stories? Like, the Drifter's been around for a really long time. There's all this lore around the Volta class and this original fire team, and Kaber and all those folks, going in. Or might we go see some of their story or go live in their time? Like, I would, again, part of this is just my deep desire for something for me to go watch, again, TV movies of these stories, but might we go back and revisit some of these older characters and see some of their story or see some of their life and sort of fill some holes, wrap up some plot points, or just go and live in their world for a bit. I mean, there's no real rules to the Destiny universe, especially since our big epic is over and concluded. Going, well, we can move through time. We can build a portal. We can, again, make up a reason that this has happened, and now, the Vex did something, and now we're in a thing. Oh, that turned out to be a whole simulation at the end of it. But we get to go back and see what they were doing with the original Volta class, and trying to stop us then. And I'm excited to see where this goes, and I'm just happy. I'm happy there's more. Because again, we've been here for a decade. Don't plan on going anywhere. I'm happy that there's more for me to go explore and see. And do you think we're going to get maybe something a little bit more fun around Halloween for an activity with the whole new, episode and things? Might we get a different activity? Not a haunted lost sector? Something different, something new? Maybe.
Yeah, I'd like to see the haunted forest thing come back, as well as lost sectors, as well as spooky trials as well. Put all of it in there. It's all kind of, it doesn't really matter if it's only for like 2 weeks, for the trials thing, or if, I think it's 3 weeks that we get for the event. So, put it all in there. It doesn't really matter. Just people can pick and choose what they want to kind of do. And it's all good fun. But looking on the calendar, if this one that we're currently in, the Echoes, finishes on October 8th, so then the new one will start on the 9th and should hopefully run to the 10th of February. And then, so that's not Heresy, that's Revenant. Revenant should run from the 9th of October to the 10th of February. And then from the 11th of February through to the 16th of June in 2025 should be Heresy, if it runs 18 weeks each week, each kind of episode. So that'll take us just over 2 weeks of the year. So it depends.
Yeah, the timing's there. Could be right, but yeah, we'll see. I'm just happy to have, again, just to know that there is more confirmed, and just to know that what they're doing with the story, because I think that's what a lot of people were sort of curious about. Is, are we now are we going to go, because there's the whole Gardener and Widower, beyond the Witness, and is that the new big bad? Is that the new big bad in a roundabout kind of way? Or are we going to have these standalone stories that they can go tell? And I'm kind of happy they've gone the let's go tell some standalone stories, even if they move into a larger stories later on down the line. I'm happy that it's just, something a little bit different, maybe giving them a little more freedom. And I'm so happy after having so long in the last season where it's like, here's the activity. It feels like it's going to be gone before it's here. I know a lot of people have moaned about, I have to wait for this to happen. This doesn't unlock for this many days. I'm happy to have things a little more spaced out, where you can't just play the first season and play all the seasonal content, make all the videos, do everything, and then by week 2 you're like, there's nothing to do. I've done everything. Like, I'm kind of happy that there's just there's a little bit more, because at the beginning of these expansions and these new content drops, there's so much that hits you. Like, I just have declared bankruptcy on YouTube this week. Going, there's so many things that have come out. A lot of things I've sort of thrown on lists going, at some point I'll look at you when I get there, but it's going to be a couple of weeks before I get there. Yeah. And then it's like, by the time I'm ready for it, it's like everyone's moved on to, again, whatever the new hotness is, whatever happened in the last 48 hours in Destiny. It's like, there's too much. There's too much. So I'm hoping maybe with this the episode schedule, again, we've got one less, season a year. So every episode can be a little longer. So we're not quite so much on that treadmill. And I'm also honestly looking forward to that, of just, the pace of things getting to slow down, and they can, stretch some of the content out, some of the story out. And it's not so much like, oh, go play this activity for the first, 3 weeks and then it's gone. And then it felt like such a rush. And I'm hoping just that pace just, lessens just a little bit, where I can go and enjoy some of this, especially with with the final shape being just this huge new expansion. And just, there's so much in the Pale Heart I've yet to explore, and just really getting to enjoy that without feeling like I need to race through it to get to, the thing that came out yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you with that one. Like, there's so much to do, so much to see, and I'm like, I will get to it at some point, but I want to kind of do it on my own pace. So that's what I'm going to do. But I will kind of look at videos and things, and saying that, there will be some videos that kind of go over different things that I've only briefly glanced at, because I want to kind of save some things like the raids and that. So I have got some guides for like the raids in there this week, but I haven't looked at them 100%. But going on past reputations, I know that these guides are really good. So, but I suppose with that, we could dive into This Week in Destiny for the 13th of June, 2024. And as we've already talked about it, we've talked about the journey ahead, which we will link in the show notes. Congratulations to the world's first. We said it first. We said it live last week. We said it before they said it in the TWAB. But if you want to go and read, there is a very long kind of interview with the raid team that beat Salvation's Edge. That is I can't remember the name of them. They were...
I can tell you it was Astro, Bravo, Drakath, Shadow, Ham, Jake, and Tyrax, who definitely, as well as our coaches, Chillax and Not Soon being the first team to complete it. I don't remember what their clan was, as I'm also scanning for that.
Yeah,
but it was sort of interesting to, again, as this was, I think now the officially longest day one raid we've had. I think it surpassed Last Wish and original Vault of Glass in D1. I think they beat it like just under the 24-hour mark.
Yeah.
And then a couple other teams were like just over 24 hours, which it was interesting. People were saying, hey, if the original contest rules were still in place, original contest mode, one team would have gotten through, and then everybody else would have been after, well after that.
Well, that's something I did want to ask both of you, but Respawn's gone. But I was watching, I think I caught a TikTok from Professor Broman. He was answering somebody's kind of reaction to the fact that he doesn't know what he's talking about when he was doing the shoutcasting. And he posted a video of him with his King's Fall belt over his shoulder. I was like, don't I know what I'm talking about, kind of thing. It was like, and looking at it from kind of that perspective, I wish that we didn't kind of have the contest mode, because when we had Destiny 1, the Vault of Glass, Crota's End, King's Fall, they were just go and play it. You could, as long as you got to the kind of the light level to get in, you could go and play it. The Forever 29s for Crota's End kind of thing, and you had to go and do the raid to get yourself up to the pinnacle light level. And I wish it was a bit more like that. I mean, I understand the whole thing about generating the hype for the raid races, and it's now become this kind of exclusive club that only a few can kind of get into or be a part of if you kind of grind yourself, like I said at the beginning, without kind of doing the whole of the story and all the kind of the little bits, all the bits after that, before you can kind of do the raid. And now it's kind of, you get yourself ready, you go and do your raid, you complete the raid, or you compete in the raid race to see if you can get an emblem, whatever else. But it also locks a lot of players out of not playing the raid as well. You have to wait for that 24, 48 hours before you can kind of do it with your kind of friends or your teams. And I don't know how you feel about that, and I don't know how Respawn feels about it. We could probably ask him next week. But it was just something that I was thinking about, seeing Broman's video, thinking, well, Broman, you didn't do contest mode to get your belt. It was just go and play the raid. And I participated in that raid race. I participated, I think, in the Crota's End, a couple of other ones in Destiny. and it was like I didn't have to kind of. I mean, I think the last one that we kind of really had to grind to get there was the Last Wish. But again, my team decided at the last, like in the 11th hour, that they weren't going to do it. So I was like, oh, okay, then I've wasted all this time and I can't find another team. So, but yeah, you didn't have that contest mode. You could, if you wanted to, just go into the raid and try and see if you can get the worlds first. Now it seems to be a bit more kind of, oh, well, I'm gonna, I'm not good enough to do contest mode, but if it was a normal mode, I might have a chance. I don't know how you feel. What do you think?
And also basically going, you have to be on PC to do this. To have any kind of prayer at this, you're going to be on PC. I think I was looking for. I thought I had put it in the report roundup for this week. Basically, someone I think had been compiling like the top 50 players or the top X number of teams that made it through the raid. Yeah, and it was like PC all across the board. Like there's, and this is nothing new. It's been like this for a while. But like if you're playing on console, you're not going to win the day one raid race. Period. Full stop. Like it's just not going to happen. The people on PC are going to have the edge. And so again, that's just sort of where the game has gone now that PC is a thing you can play it on. But there's part of me going, it sure would be nice for us, sort of, our console peasantry over here to at least have a chance. Maybe again, not that I personally have any belief that I would be figuring out these puzzles or winning a day one raid. Like that's just not the player I am, not the problem solver I am. I'm sitting here going, you tell me what to do and I can absolutely execute on that plan, but I am not the one coming up with the plan trying to figure it all out. But I thought it was interesting too, just the breakdown of characters and classes getting through this day one raid, which I thought was even almost not more interesting, but interesting in its own way.
Yeah, I think it was who said it was. It was on DCP. I think Fran had kind of gone off and done a bit of research, and apparently he said he remembered it because it was 33 teams in 33 hours had completed it, and it was something like all hunters and warlocks, and I think it was something like 3 titans in the whole kind of 48 hours had completed it, but the rest were kind of warlocks and hunters, which kind of interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's a clan Parabellum. That was the first thing I was looking for. Yeah, so Parabellum clan was the one who got it done, which was so funny because people were going, "Oh, they weren't even streaming. They weren't even whatever." And it's like, guys, there's no requirement to stream this. There's no requirement that you have to be doing this live, because again, we got to the point where, and I think we touched on this last week. Salt and Astacross and Detto and folks were streaming, but we either had face cams on or were obscuring the stream because they were so far into it and probably felt so close. They didn't want people to see what they were doing because they had figured out the damage, and it, end of the day, it didn't matter anyway. Yeah. But it just, there was a lot of discourse of that online. But there was a couple things that I grabbed. I was sort of doing a little Twitter collection the day of the race, because again, just some interesting data came out of this, like what you just touched on. Astacross said, I said before the final shape that a team of hunters would never be enough for the witness. Welp, and he's got an image from Salvation's Edge class population top 50, 213 hunters, 72 warlocks, and 3 titans. Astacross being one of them. Wisp and Tattered Yeti 081 apparently were the other 2. So 74% hunters, 25% warlocks, 1% titan were in the top 50 people to get through that raid by class.
Yeah.
Glad said, interesting Salvation's Edge stat. 4,134 players cleared the raid during contest. 123 were titans. So, sort of to Respawn's point, we're here, but we're not really here in the end game. We're just kind of hanging out over here doing our thing. I saw that Ritz had on Twitter had posted, if you want to know the place of titans in today's raiding meta, Datto cleared a day 1 off titan for the first time in 10 years yesterday. and Datto played a hunter to get the clear.
Mm.
So yeah, a couple more things I had seen. Apparently, you can get a red bordered raid weapon from the 12-man Excision activity. Apparently, if you bring your key from killing the witness in the raid into Excision, you have a chance of a red border to drop. So that's a thing if you're trying to get red border raid weapons. If you're also don't want to ever see a strike ever again in your entire life, playing Onslaught now gives you Vanguard rep. So if you're trying to do Vanguard things, you can go into Onslaught and do it that way.
Yeah.
Gambit did get Losing Hive and Shadow Legion, and the Dreaming City map is allegedly back. I say allegedly because I haven't seen it yet. But so again, tiny minor changes to Gambit did happen. They added new enemy types and gave us a Dreaming City map back. They took away 1,000,000 years ago. They also reduced the Protect the Runner Triumph from 75 modes to 50 modes. So if for some reason you've been trying to get your Direction title and that's what's been holding you back, or if you're doing it for the Pathfinder objective anyway and going, might as well get this added to my collection, that should be a little bit easier because 50 modes, not really a big deal if you have a team with you. And finally, I just had to appreciate Screeby, SCREBYY on Twitter saying, the Witness being defeated by 5 sleep-deprived hunters with illegally dual-wielding goldies and their emotional support well lock. That's cinema to me.
True.
Which I just thought was lovely.
Yeah.
So that was sort of our raid-focused mini roundup report of just things I saw sort of the day after. There's, again, so many things been going on. It feels impossible to keep up with all of it, but I just thought some of those raid stats were really interesting in the breakdown of things. And the number of call-out pictures I've seen using fast food restaurants or burger ingredients for the different encounters is just lovely.
I mean, if there was no contest mode, would you? I mean, I know that our clan were quite regulars of kind of doing raids, even when it was like day one back in the day. Would you kind of be tempted to do kind of the day one raids if there wasn't a contest mode and it was just kind of go in there and do what you can kind of do with, if you've got to the power level, then great, you can kind of take on the enemies and try and just figure out the puzzles rather than kind of having that contest mode and do the race. Would you or not?
I would, partially because of also, and I think the change that I think Respawn touched on last week, where you didn't have to have everybody in your raid team at light level. It basically brought you up to, so if you had that one friend or that one LFG person that had grinded their face off and was at light level or above, it bringing you up. Because I remember, again, going back to Destiny 1, like Vault of Glass, I remember just dragging a lot of people, taking massively underpowered friends, putting them in bubbles, going, you wait here. If anything comes in the bubble, try to kill them. Beyond that, though, because they weren't even at light level to really do much. And it was an absolutely like a one hit. And the snipers would get them, or a stiff breeze would come up and a piece of the vault would break off. So I really appreciate that change of going, let's bring you up at least so you can be competitive, so you can have a good time and not literally like just stand in this corner and wait for everyone else, to do the killing. And yeah, I would absolutely at least want to try it. If for no other reason, start later in the day when, sort of, some of the mechanics are sort of figured out. Again, I don't think I would ever really like race for the day one completion. I mean, if someone was like, hey, let's do this, and I had the time to do it and had slept well enough to to be able to put some hours into it, it'd be fun to do. But yeah, I mean, I would absolutely give it a shot. I'd be more interested in going, okay, once things are sort of figured out, doing the mechanics, because again, the figuring out of the mechanics has never been my motivation. Sort of, I enjoy going, okay, well, here's what we're trying to do and just executing those. Like, that's what I really enjoy about.
Do you think contest mode is needed for these raid races? Do you think that it's a necessity now? Do you think they've kind of backed themselves into a corner?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think absolutely, because again, you're gonna have the people who are gonna just absolutely play their faces off for 3 days and be so overpowered by the time that raid comes that it's going to be a cakewalk if they don't make it artificially harder. Now, what I would also like to see is, break the groups up and go, well, you could have your day one, your big belt, whatever, for the first clear, but it'd be nice to have something for, hey, on console doing this, because there's simply no competition between a console and PC players. Like, it simply isn't, and hasn't for years been a thing. No one on consoles are going to win this. So it'd be nice to at least, if you were going to go in and give it a shot, to have a chance at it. And again, I mean, it also is a race at the end of the day too. So I'm not saying we should hand out trophies to everybody. The day one clear is still the day one clear. It's, you get it very first. And if you're playing on the, souped up gaming rig, great, good for you. You've got a better shot at this.
I mean, I vaguely remember when they did the King's Fall, the reprised King's Fall, and I think for Crota as well, the requirement was you had to play through the normal version and then you had to go back through and do the challenge version of it. And with Destiny 1, with our raids, we had a normal version and then we had a harder version. And the normal version had mechanics that were taken out that were then in the harder version, that if you learned the mechanics and worked it out, then you got better rewards. And I feel that maybe they could do something like that, that you could opt into either playing the raid normally and you could opt into a raid race. And the raid race had all the mechanics and you had to do those mechanics to actually do the thing. Or you could play the normal version. I think that would be quite interesting to see, because you could play the normal version, you could complete it, and then you would then have to wait for the world's first to complete it before it unlocked for whatever it kind of wanted to do, which would then kind of give everybody a chance. Would you see that would work?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, and I think that's what people have been asking for, just like in the raids overall, who, again, you don't have the time, the effort, the team to do a day one experience, but still want to maybe have that contest mode experience. Like, people have been asking for, like, a toggleable contest mode.
Yeah.
Either doing that, or bringing the master raids back. People who are raiding all the time, who want that challenge, give them the challenge. Say, I want to do this, but give me more things to grind for. Give me unique rewards or cosmetics or whatever. Give me a reason to go do this. If you're raiding all the time and just want to test yourself and your team and push yourself to the limit, you can ratchet up that difficulty. Give people a contest mode raid slider going. Well, let's see how high can I push this? How far below light level can I get this done? Can I take it to 50 to 60 to 70 below light? How hard can we make this? What are other things we could toggle on? Oh, here's a challenge that's absolutely nuts. Let's limit you to, you can't run exotics. You can't, you do this, almost like like you can for like private mode, like private mode Crucible. Bring that into the raid thing, because like you're not hurting anything. You're not,
No.
Like especially if it's things to make it harder. Like you're not benefiting anyone. You're not going, oh, people are just gonna cheese it out super easy. Well, no, if you really want that challenge, you're gonna go for that challenge. And I think you still need some carrot at the end of that stick, though. I mean, I think some people will do it just because they can. Who will go out there and 2-man it or beat it on Rock Band drums or whatever. But I think there's also just people who are like, we raid all the time and would love to do a harder challenge of this and get something for our troubles. Whether whether it's just more materials, whether it's different people will be motivated by different rewards, but have something there for them to chase. You've got the flawless emblems, you've got the flawless rewards and trials. Give me, what's the raid version of that? Like, I know there's obviously lots of raid gear and loot and red borders, but like something really truly special to go, like, this is really the best of the best, the cream of the crop, who have really knocked out this, ridiculous thing. I mean, I remember doing the Crota flawless runs in D1, where trying to keep the whole team alive and getting to the end, and then someone dies or gets kicked or whatever, and it's like, oh, okay, no, start again. But like, it was such a fun challenge to get through, and it really was, and that all or nothing where you had to be perfect or you got nothing out of it. It would be nice to, other than a triumph or whatever. I think it was a triumph we were going for.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice to have something else to show for that, not just the triumph.
Well, they do that with the seals now. You do a flawless run. I think the Petra's run and things like that in Last Wish. So that it is included with the seal. And if you rock the seal title, people should understand where you've kind of come from. But having a kind of, and I know a lot of people ask for it, a raid light version of a raid would have been interesting, because let's take Oryx, for example. You go through those raid mechanics, and maybe like the first encounter where you're kind of swapping the buffs and kind of going to the middle and shooting witches to kind of open the hive runes on the door to the war priest is different to how it would play out in the hard version. And then when you get to war priest, it's different with kind of how you kind of do the different buffs, like completely different to the fact that the master version or the contest mode version, there is a completely different mechanic that you would have to learn and kind of complete. Then going through the maze to Golgoroth, and then Golgoroth, you have to do a specific rotation of the droplets that kind of come down. And then the sisters, you'd have to do a completely different kind of take on those. And then with Oryx, maybe similar to what they had with like the Pantheon version of Oryx. So if they did something like that, and then you completed it on the raid Lite, and it got to the end of that, and it said, "Well done, here's your raid loot," but basically asking like the fire teams to wait in orbit until kind of the master version or the contest mode version has been completed before we can kind of see the kind of the true ending of this encounter, and maybe like an opening up to the end of giving you kind of a resolution for everybody to then see, so that you have people that are doing the raid Lite, which you can't copy the mechanics for the contest mode. So the contest mode would still stay as a kind of thing that people could do for the raid belt, but the normal version, or the raid Lite version, would just be so that people could go in and try their hand at doing kind of raid mechanics, but not too complicated raid mechanics, but still see kind of an outcome. Would have been nice to see. I mean, they did fantastic with the way that they kind of did the Salvation's Edge, and then you can kind of go into the Excision mission and play that and kind of see the end of that story. That was fantastic how they managed to kind of pull that off.
Yeah, that's one thing I appreciated, again, from the story level of getting, because I feel like after every raid there's always like, we see a cinematic or we see a story, but there's nothing for us to do as other players. It's like, oh, someone has done this. Okay, let's watch what happened. It was fun to go and sort of experience a little bit of that. Like, all right, now we must have, I never see myself as, the tip of the spear going in and defeating, the biggest bad. I'm definitely one of the other people going, all right, now that the crack strike team has struck a blow, let's go in and finish it. Let's go in and overwhelm the rest of the forces. That's me over here. Sign me up. So it was fun to be able to go in and play that role of like, all right, being rallied by Zavala.
Yeah.
Saying, all right, now the rest of you, let's go take this to them. Like that. I really enjoyed that story experience. I really enjoyed just the gameplay of that. And I'm with you, just having the raid Lite, and I think it would help. I've seen again a number of the stats about like 20% of Destiny players have ever finished a raid or stepped into a raid. I can't remember what the exact stat is, but the numbers are very low, and a lot of it is knowing what to do, getting in there, and if you don't have a Sherpa or someone patiently going, here's what you're doing, because I mean some of the raids are fairly easy, and it's go here, stand here, shoot this, and you're good. And some of them involve like 6 people being very active participants who need to pay attention, who need to be precise, and just learning, because I mean, you can watch all the videos in the world, you can have people explain it to you, but like until you go do it, like again, it's like I've watched videos, I've had it explained to me, but until I'm doing it and experiencing it and going, well, it's not just that, but I also have to think about this, oh, and not dying, oh, and this over here.
Yeah,
it's a different experience. So like getting a little bit of that experience again in a way where it's not, I'm not saying not so hard, but just like, where it's like you're learning the encounters, you're learning the maneuvers, you're figuring out how to get this done. I think we get a lot more people in, and, even if it's a way where you could do it with, I don't know, some sort of, like training, training environment, or just with people going, listen, we're going to do this to teach, maybe it's, hey, you don't, there's no chance of a raid exotic dropping, but maybe for the, again, like for the people who are teaching, like give them an emblem, or give them a something, or hey, for every group you run through this mode, and you get, for every encounter you get, sort of this new group of people through, and it scales if they've never been in a raid before, giving you more rep or more rank, or ups your chance for the raid exotic. You can get up to like, a 90% chance for the raid exotic to drop or something, or a targeted weapon to drop. If you run all these new players through, the more players you run through, especially if they're new raiders, it ups your chance as the Sherpa, to really incentivize those people going, I can get you through. I get something out of this for all the hard work. I've done this raid 40 times. I've gotten all these new people learning through it in the mechanics. And now I can go in with my team and get, almost be assured of getting the reward I want, or that raid exotic to finally drop for me, or, whatever it is. Incentivizing people to teach, as well as just the good people who are out there already doing the teaching, of which there are many. But, unless you have sort of an avenue to those people, they're hard to find.
I mean, that would be quite interesting if they did a kind of a raid light, and the raid light kind of gave you on-screen instructions for your specific guardian. So you will be swapping with XYZ, like in the bucket race. You will be swapping with Guardian X, and Guardian X will be swapping with you. There'll be a timer on your side of your screen. Follow these directions. Give you kind of rough kind of guidelines like we have when you're kind of starting off in Destiny. It kind of go here, pick up this weapon, go and throw this ball over here, and it kind of gives you those on-screen instructions. So like in a raid light would give you kind of the basics of how to kind of get into doing the different encounters and the different mechanics. I mean, one thing that I'd like to see from other YouTubers is, I'm with you with kind of the guides. You can watch as many guides as you like, but they're not always from the same perspective. And that's the issue, is that sometimes you need to know individually, right? Person 1 will be doing this. Person 2 will be doing this. Person 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I'm going to explain what person 1 is going to be doing throughout this whole encounter. Then we're going to move on to person 2. But then you also then have to throw in the variable. So if person 1 goes down, then you need to kind of do this, or person 6 needs to be the one that needs to run over and do that. It needs to be, when they're doing like these raid guides, it needs to be very, very minute kind of instructions and detailed for some players, so that they know that if they're going to go into and learn position 6 plays like this, or position 2 plays like this. I think sometimes that the raid guides that they kind of that get put out there are kind of a general like, oh, if you're the person doing this, then you need to kind of do this. But if you're the person over here doing this, and it's like, I need to see it play out, and I need to see different variables of kind of how this would kind of play out, and what I need to kind of do with working with like player number 6 or player number 5 and crossovers and all these different things. And some of the guides aren't kind of explained in detail. I mean, they do cover the multiple kind of different spots, but it needs to be kind of in more kind of detail for some people anyway.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and there's some things, and there's some encounters that are just hard to understand what's going on from a first player perspective. Like as we have new raids and new things out, I wish again we had some sort of like, I'm going back to the Halo days, a forge where you had a free floating camera where people, I wish there was some mode again, whether it be the raid mode light or something you could go into, and whether you could be the 7th man or give me a way to record a raid, like from, let me toggle on a top down perspective. So like my team could go do this encounter, and then I could switch to that, like, stadium view top down, like for the bucket race. So you could say, okay, let's put, this is Guardian 1, this is Guardian 2. Let's highlight them, watch how they go back and forth. Guardian 3 and 4, they're going to do the same thing just on this side. These 2 Guardians, their job is to kill these guys in this room. So you could sort of see it, play in top down. Like, again, like all these, planet encounters. Again, I don't know a lot of these mechanics, but it would be really nice to be able to say, here's a top down view. Okay, so here's the lay of the land. This planet's over here, or here are the places this can spawn. You may be running to A, B, and C. Depending where this is spawns, here's who you want to run to. Okay, let's roll the tape. Okay, you can see this thing spawns here. These 2 players go there. These 2 players go here. Their job is this. They need this buff to do that. And seeing that like top down view, because it's one thing to watch a video, but then you're going, well, I'm in this, and then of course it looks all different because you're seeing it from a different perspective. You're not seeing it from the same perspective of the person who did it. And even with those good explanations, it is hard to go, well, what are you seeing? What are you doing? Like, I'm the role I have isn't quite what this is, and I need to experience it. Just getting a little bit better view into that would be helpful again for a lot of these harder encounters. One day, Bungie, maybe one day.
One day. And speaking of harder encounters, Grandma Excision, everybody? Anyone? Everybody? Anyone? No?
Yeah, that's something I did not see coming.
You didn't have it on your bingo card, did you, for this year?
No, I didn't at all. Like honestly, I played through it again, finally getting into it the first time. My first thought was, can I replay this even? Or is this like a one-time thing? Because maybe, I don't want to sit through the opening cinematic every time, but I might want to go back into it, especially since the first time doing it was a lot of chaos and running around and going, I have axes I can throw. I'm throwing lots of axes. Am I really helping out? I don't really know. But I'll tell you, it was funny when I played it that first time, like going and, picking up the Traveler's Light, bringing the Traveler's Light back to the place to dunk it. I don't know what was going on with like the timing and the animation. I would pick up the light, I would dunk the light, I would run back off to get more light. 15 to 30 seconds later, I would perform the animation of dunking somewhere else on the field. It would give me credit. It would say, it would say, hey, you've dunked the light. I was nowhere near the thing, and I'm going, is it me? Like eventually it caught up. Like the third or fourth time I dunked things, eventually it was like, oh, okay, I'm going to dunk it in this thing now. But it was really wild, just like running through the field, being mid gunfight, then all of a sudden kicking into that dunking animation, and then going back to where I was. Like, okay, that's a thing, huh? Yeah, I'm excited and curious to figure out how that would work as a Grandmaster.
Yeah, because they don't say whether it's going to be match made or whether you're going to have to find a fire team of 12 players to kind of go in. But I'm thinking Grandmaster you will. I mean, Grandmasters normally have Extinguish, they have extra champions, they have Barrier, Unstoppable, and Overload champions normally in Nightfalls and a lot of other content. So there might be those things as well. You've got to think about burns, you've got to think about surges, you've got to think shields. So yeah, a bit more kind of information would have been helpful rather than kind of, hey, we're dropping it on June 18th and it's going to be hard, but the reward for it is going to be amazing and it's going to be worth it. You're like, well, I need some more info rather than kind of, I get to Tuesday and go, oh, now I need 11 people. Like,
right. Gonna need, I mean, and this is Bungie. I mean, I'm guessing it's going to be match made, and I'm guessing that's part of the reason they say, hey guys, remember Friend Finder, or if not match made, you can go into the Friend Finder and find people that way, or Fire Team Finder, not Friend Finder.
No, it's Friend Finder.
Is it Friend Finder?
Yeah.
Okay.
Find friends.
Use the thing and go find people. But yeah, I was like, how is that gonna work? Are there gonna be res tokens? Because there was a lot of chaos during that fight of the Witness, and I don't know. I'm pretty sure our team wiped every single time. Again, if you do it more than once, you'll have an idea what's coming. But I was like, Grandmaster. Yeah. I mean, like I appreciate the option. Like I like that it's a thing. I'm very curious about it. But yeah,
me too. We'll find out.
Yeah, we're gonna make this very hard for you. And I mean, I'm just happy it's replayable because it was just such a fun, chaotic activity. I enjoy getting the opportunity to do it again.
Yeah, and it's really throwing me off going and playing the overthrows and having these little kind of beacons of light all over the place going, come and play Excision, come and play. I don't want to play Excision. If I want to play Excision, I know where it is. Other people might not know, though. So I suppose it is good. Well done.
Yeah, like the Pale Heart map being so wide. Like not like fairly tall, but just super wide, going, where is this? Oh, it's all the way to the right. It's all the way to the left.
It's all the way over there. Yeah.
Yeah. That said, I kind of wish it scrolled a little faster on my Xbox, but not it's fine. It's fine. It's good. We're good.
This is your weekly rundown of the Final Shape, week 3, starting on June 18th. This week sees the second week of the first act of episodes, Echoes. The plot thickens as Guardians continue to investigate what the Vex are up to deep in the bowels of Nessus. In the Pale Heart, the exotic mission Dual Destiny is now available. Grab a friend or use the in-game Fireteam Finder to find a buddy, and complete the mission to earn your new exotic class item for the Prismatic subclass. The Final Shape's focus mission this week will be Iconoclasm. The Excision mission is also available next to the raid for a weekly pinnacle. And starting this week on June 18th, Excision will be getting a new Grandmaster difficulty version. It's going to be very hard, but the reward for completing it will be totally worth it. The featured Onslaught map this week will be the Moth Yards on the Cosmodrome, with the Fallen War Priest kicking off the boss rotation. For our Legacy rotation, the Dreaming City this week is at a medium curse level, which means Petrovenge can be found in the Devilian Mist, and has the Oracle Engine mission for the next week. The Blind World features Hive enemies and the Plague, Korregar. The Ascendant Challenge will be the Shattered Ruins over in the Spine of Keris. On the Moon, the weekly story mission is a mysterious disturbance. The Trove Guardian is located in the Anchor of Light, while the Wandering Nightmare is the Nightmare of Jax, Claws of Zevra Wrath in the Hellmouth. Nightmare hunts Crota, Despair, Fogoth, Fear, and Ghoul, Rage. On Europa this week, Phylax the Warrior will be the Empire Hunt, Assyrian's Abyss will be the Eclipse Zone, and the Exo Challenge will be Agility. Dares of Eternity Legendary rounds are Fallen, Hive, and Zydron. The Scatterhorn armor set and the Wild Hunt armor set will be available in Dares of Eternity with Weapon Set 1. Arsenic Bite 4B, Blast Batu, Corsair's Wrath, Deafening Whisper, Dire Promise, Enigma's Draw, Escape Velocity, Giant 7 Rifle, Friction Fire, Royal Chase, True Prophecy, and Timeline's Vertex. The Witch Queen weekly story mission is The Ghosts, Altar of Reflections Catalyst, and Altar of Reflections Pact. The Lightfall weekly mission is No Time Left, the Partition mission will be Ordnance, and the Vex incursion will be Umsha Park. The Korota's End Raid Challenges week is the first encounter Into the Abyss, called Conservation of Energy. The Root of Nightmares Raid Challenges week is the first encounter Cataclysm, called Illuminated Torment. The Kingsfall Raid Challenge this week is the second encounter War Priest, called Devious Thievery. The Vow the Disciple Challenge this week is the second encounter The Caretaker, called Base Information. The Vault of Glass Challenge this week is the third encounter Templar, called Out of Its Way. The Garden of Salvation Challenge this week is the second encounter Spy Defense, called A Link to the Chain. And the Last Wish Challenge this week is the second encounter Shirochi, called Witch Witch. Your pinnacle raid will be the Deep Zone Crypt over on Europa, with all challenges available for each encounter, with the exotic rocket launcher Eyes of Tomorrow being farmable from the final boss. The pinnacle dungeon will be the Pit of Heresy over on the Moon, and the exotic mission rotator will be Starcrossed over in the Legends tab, with Wishkeeper Exotic Bow being the main reward. The exotic missions The Whisper and 0 Hour will also be available in the Legends tab. This week's challenges are Scratch the Surface 2, Research and Development 2, Aggressive Exploration 1, Forge Safe 1, Deepest Space, High Value Hunter, Momentum Crash, and Classified. Keep it secret, keep it safe. Lost Sectors Tuesday The Conflux is on Nessus, Wednesday Thriller Dome on Neptune, Thursday Hydroponics Delta on Neptune, Friday Veil's Labyrinth on the Cosmodrome, Saturday Exodus Garden 2A on the Cosmodrome, Sunday The Broken Deep in the Pale Heart, and Monday The Blooming Deep in the Pale Heart. Our third featured Nightfall will see us face off against Navota in the Disgraced over on the Cosmodrome, with the Undercurrent Grenade Launcher being the featured weapon. The 6v6 control playlist will be Control, Memento Control in the Part of Relentless playlist, Survival in the 3v3 playlist, and 2v2 Clash in Crucible Labs, with Trials of Osiris at the weekend, plus bonus Gambit ranks available all week long. And that's it for the third week of the final shape. And then in the TWAB, where they go over the Echoes launch trailer, apparently you've got to keep a keen eye when you jump in during the Echoes activity. Be on the lookout for new material nodes that you can extract some samples from these strange pods and return them to our resident in the helm. That's what we're going to be doing, picking up samples and taking them to the helm. A bit like we were a couple of seasons ago with collecting fish and dunking them in the helm. I want to know where my fish tank's gone. I had to go real world fishing this week to kind of, you did curb that need of going fishing.
Yeah. What did you do with the exotic cod you found? I mean, that was clearly an exotic fish. It had all the looks of it.
No, it was a carp.
Oh.
But I put it back. You have to catch them and then put them back.
So not in the fish tank for rewards. That's too bad.
Well, no, I put them back in the fish tank that was there.
Real world fish tank.
Yeah. And we went over where Zer was last week, and apparently it's his permanent home down in the Bazaar Courtyard. So he's got kind of just tucked around the corner opposite where Ikora is. He's hiding around a corner. He's got a little Star Horse figurine sitting on the side there. And yeah, players can now earn strange coins upon completing Vanguard, Crucible, Trials, Iron Banner, Gambit, and Onslaught activities. But not in the Pale Heart, as I've found out. But I've got nothing this week because I have none of the other things.
Yeah, no, I've again played a few Gambit matches, played a few matches of Crucible. Haven't looked at that other blue icon that we don't speak of yet.
If you were confused,
he now has a currency and a track, and there's a lot more chooser.
Yeah. If you were confused, his new reputation track exists separately from the one in Eternity. So spending strange coins at this shop will add progress to his new reputation system and earn reputation rewards of a whole new exotic cipher after every rank reset, which you kind of need for doing some of the enhancing of weapons and re-rolling exotics and things like that. So they're handy. Zer will also acknowledge our patronage by offering buffs that bolster strange coin acquisition. After you spend 47 strange coins, he will grant you access to a stack of Strange Favor. Strange Favor is a buff that offers a chance at a bonus strange coin to drop anytime you earn a strange coin. You can only earn this one per week, and it has 11-day duration. So if you keep earning Strange Favors each week, you'll not only stack the effectiveness of the buff up to 3 stacks, but you will also refresh the duration. So make sure to acquire some of your Strange Favors each week and rake in those strange coins. He's got new items. As Respawn kind of went over last week, he's got exotic weapon catalysts. So some of the ones that weren't available or were available prior to the Witch Queen
Yeah, it should be nice to know which ones
Yeah.
he has available. It does say it will not contain catalysts that are currently associated with quests, exotic missions, season pass exotics, campaign exotics, pre-order exotics, raid exotics, or dungeon exotics. So if there's a very old weapon from prior to Witch Queen that you've been waiting for a catalyst for, it's worth checking out Xur every week, or at least checking your local Discord or 1 minute Fallout video of what Xur has and if it's a catalyst you've been waiting for.
Yeah. He's got 3 exotic weapons each week. He has legendary weapons and armor each week. Strange wild card offerings. So yeah, you can give him a strange coin and throw the dice on that. Or is that the strange gifts? That's purchasing a strange leftover from random items. No, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, it's not worth it. I did a couple of those just to see if it was anything, and it was like one enhancement shard. Like, yeah, it wasn't anything worth it. Yeah, I mean, maybe it could be. Maybe it's a massive loot pool of interesting things. But once I have more strange coins, I ran out of strange coins very quickly because I had a few and just started throwing them at things, going, oh, I need to go get many more of these before I knew where they came from. Because again, I too was on the Pale Heart going, I'm not getting any. I don't know where. I guess Gambit and Crucible where I got the ones I had, and I was like, I certainly haven't earned many of these, and I've been playing a fair bit. But
I think the confusion was that I think it was the last week of the last season, people were getting strange coins, and they were going, why am I getting strange coins for doing things? What's this all about? Now we know why. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, Xur's been updated. Go and visit him in the tower from Friday reset through to Tuesday reset. He will be there every week with different wares. We've talked about the new sword archetype and gone over all the different things, but they do have a video in the TWAB if you want to check that out. Then back to Trials of Osiris, and it's back this week, offering the Summoner Auto Rifle. Again, don't forget you can pick up the Passage of Something, Persistence, that's the one. And if you have 10 wins on there, no matter if there's losses in there, you can get a Summoner Adept. So, see, this is the thing, isn't it? Trials was meant to be the pinnacle of the kind of Crucible world of, if you went flawless, you got your adepts, and there are some things that are still only available for going flawless, but they brought like the Trials adepts available for kind of people that just persist in playing. So it would be nice to see this in kind of the raids, Bungie. Just saying, you've kind of made Trials a bit more accessible for people, so maybe you could try your hand at raids and get people into raiding a little bit because you've done it in Crucible. Maybe, just saying.
Yeah, wouldn't be bad about that.
No. There's new additions to the Cosplay Cosmodrome, which look phenomenal. It actually looks like in-game art of somebody dressed up as the Witch Queen with the ghost.
But sir, there's a new currency. You skipped right over it. We have another currency.
Have I?
C14, he's offering the Summoner this weekend for those who are capable enough, as well as a new currency, the Osirian Cipher. I think he was jealous that Xur had a cipher, and he's like, I want a cipher too. So now he's got a cipher. Well, this new and very aptly named currency can be exchanged for rewards every weekend. You get 4 of them after opening the Flawless chest at the Lighthouse, or 1 after completing the Passage of Persistence, and you can have up to 10 in your inventory. Use them wisely. So I'm
maybe I'll get 1. I might get 1 then.
Yeah,
is
so
what you're saying.
You might get 1, and you can hold up to 10. But I wonder what you could use them for. It might this be a way towards some adept loot for the rest of us? Can you get 1 of them after completing your Passage of Persistence, or is it just 1 for the week? Or 1 for the weekend if you're not good enough to go flawless. So we'll have to see. I'll have to go bug AZ or someone who's been flawless and go. What can you use these on? What do you use these lovely Osirian ciphers on? But yeah, if you're playing Trials and going flawless, you're getting a new currency for something because Bungie loves their currencies. They love them,
and they also love the Rat King because apparently the Rat King has a very unique weapon ornament and helmet ornament and shader, everything in the Eververse store. So if you've kind of missed that, the Crown of Vermin shader and the Rat Royal Ghost projection. There's also a Sparrow, and I think there's a ship as well that I've seen in there. And the helmet is kind of buy 1 and you get it for every class. It's a bit like the 30th anniversary kind of Tiger helmet. It will kind of one fits all, basically.
And if you're using the Rat King's sidearm while wearing the Rat King's crown, you'll activate the full potential of the helmet ornament. Hint, for the full effect, you'll need a proper rat pack. So, apparently it does something while you're using it, and even more if you've got more rat buddies with you. That's fun. Night Demon.
Yes.
The witness do got those hands, though. And with that, we have a player support report.
We or
players,
you? You do.
Well, we, the podcast, but me specifically, but also Bungie, who's given it to me, who's delivered it on my doorstep, hot and fresh, every Thursday morning.
Oh my word! You should have recorded these known issues way before the time. There's many of them.
Yeah, I thought about that as I looked at it this morning and said, "Whoopsie." So you enjoy a stretch. Go get a new mug or something, and we'll be back in a while. Because we've got things broken, and then we've got things that were fixed. But first, we're going to tell you what's broken, and then see if they fix any of those things in the patch they put out this week. So it's going to be exciting. So first things first is our contest mode emblem. So the contest mode for the Salvation's Edge raid ran from June 10th to June 9th at different times, which don't matter because it's all over now. Players
June
must
7th,
have successfully.
not June 10th.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, from June 7th to June 9th. I looked at the 10 a.m. PT and it just overwrote my brain. So yeah, contest mode is over. If you successfully completed all the encounters of the raid during the contest mode window, and you've claimed the associated Paragon Triumph in order to earn the Hunker Down emblem reward, unfortunately, unless the Triumph was earned, you don't qualify for the emblem. So if you got the Paragon Triumph, you should get the emblem. If you didn't, then you don't get the emblem. If you're acquiring Prismatic on your alternate characters, the Destined Heroes, Lost in the Light, and Found in the Darkness quests can only be completed once per account. So you don't have to do this over and over and over again. Players who purchase the campaign skip boost for the final shape or are attempting to acquire Prismatic on alternate characters will instead need to play 6 adventures available in the Lost City to unlock the Prismatic abilities. So you can either play the campaign to unlock them, or if you bought the campaign skip, go do things to unlock it anyway. But I'm super happy I don't have to grind out unlocking Prismatic on all my characters, because that would just lose my will to live. Your Convalescence is budding. To mitigate issues where players were unable to progress the Convalescence budding quest, we have unlocked the ability for all players with the free roam access to the Pale Heart to access the Cooperative Focus activity nodes. Players are advised not to launch these activities until they are directed to the Convalescence budding quest. And if none of those words made sense, don't worry, you're not there yet. Just wait for it to tell you to go there. And then you'll be good. Season 20 through 23 weapon crafting. Bungie is aware of an issue where players who completed crafting patterns from Season 20 through 23, well, they are no longer able to craft these weapons. This is not intentional and will be resolved in a future update. So if you found yourself being unable to craft things you've earned in the last couple seasons, it's a bug. They're working on it. They're aware of it. You just have to wait till they get it fixed. To unlock in the Salvation's Edge Bungie rewards, to unlock the ability to purchase the Raid Jacket and the Salvation's Edge Cadet Sling Bag by Chrome Industries through the Bungie rewards, you will need to complete the raid and claim the associated triumph prior to June 25th at 9:59 a.m. Pacific time. So you've got about 10 days as we record and, about a week as you hear this. So if that's the thing you want, there's still time. And now there's known issues. So many known issues. Players who completed the Transmigration mission but did not unlock Prismatic will need to replay the mission solo to acquire the new subclass. The Light Magnifier Pathfinder objective states that it requires orbs of power to be generated using masterworked weapons, when it can be also progressed via orb generation from non-masterworked weapons. So if you're making orbs of power, doesn't matter if the weapon's masterworked. Your Prismatic Warlock who equips Phoenix Dive and no strand abilities will cause targetless threadlings to no longer remain on the player. The Evidence Board Glaive patterns require legendary shards to unlock when attempting to acquire them on alternate characters. And legendary shards are no longer in the game anymore, so Bungie's going to remove them or work out a fix for that. Attempting to shape or reshape the Edge of Concurrence, of Intent, or of Action glaives will result in a Weasel error, Those are the ones you get from the evidence board. The Final Slice Finisher preview does not reset. Works fine, just the preview doesn't reset. Players report that the diegetic prism cannot be dismantled. They've already acquired the Ergo Sum on an alternate character. The diegetic prism can be dismantled, but players must do so in a social space. So if you've got that prism hanging around your inventory, go to a social space, then you should be able to dismantle it once you have your Ergo Sum. At least your first one, because then you'll have many, many more. The Natural 20 emote displays different roll results between observing players. So it may not be a natural 20, it may be a natural 18 or 7, or who knows. Some players do not receive enhanced perks when enhanced. This impacts fixed weapon rolls from pursuits and triumphs prior to the final shape's launch. So maybe my enhanced weapons aren't doing enhanced damage. Who knows? The rank 16 Ghost vendor rank rewards display an incorrect shader. Transcendent Wells reset the Mothkeeper's Wrap's special grenades. Heat Rises will non-activate for players while gliding. Players are sometimes unable to progress through the liminality strike. Restarting the strike should resolve this issue. Good. The Wishbearer title has been revoked for players who had previously earned it. So if you've lost your Wishbearer title, you'll get it back, just not today. Your Diamond Lance does not shatter stasis crystals. Consecration Slam Attack does not shatter stasis crystals. Flash is currently not active in the competitive Crucible playlist. To prevent players from missing important story beats, they've temporarily disabled joining in progress on the Liminality Strike. Some career stat trackers have duplicate entries in the seasonal category. Powered melee kills do not trigger on-kill effects when using the Necrotic Rips. Your Dreambane armor requires Legendary Shards to reacquire during the Shadowkeep campaign. The Knacker ship, NACRE ship, is missing its lore tab. The Void Hunter's Trapper's Ambush smoke bombs no longer trigger invisibility. Keeping in mind, these are all known issues. These are all things they will fix, and we're getting there. We're about halfway done. The ability to swap weapon perks via the API has been disabled. So if you're trying to pull things through the APIs, through dim and things, it's going to yell at you. You can still pull the weapons, you just have to move the perks manually once you get in-game. Players who had Strand equipped gained Prismatic, lost Lightfall ownership, and now attempt to change back to other subclasses are unable to change their subclass. As a workaround, players can change their subclass using the Destiny 2 companion app. That is a very, very specific set of things. Alright, vestiges won't auto-convert into memory items if another memory is already in your inventory. Players must obtain another vestige after the memory is used for the vestiges to convert into another memory, which I think is what Respawn was talking about last week. In Excision, some players or abilities may not load or may appear as a ghostly outline. In the Verity encounter in the Salvation's Edge raid, players who join in progress may not see the correct statues. That sounds exciting. In the Dissipation encounter in the Salvation's Edge raid, the boss will not announce when it is becoming enraged. Players will have 3 damage opportunities before the boss automatically enters Last Stand. So in Dissipation, you've got 3 tries and then Last Stand. But he won't tell you about it. They won't tell you about it. You just get to guess. The Arms Reach armor mod in the Salvation's Edge armor set is not displaying the correct description. The description should read, in Salvation's Edge, gain super energy when defeating combatants near a limb of the witness. Don't know what it's reading, but that's what it should say. The On the Offensive quest from Zavala can no longer be finished due to it requiring the completion of Vanguard bounties, which no longer exists because now we have Pathfinder. Playing through the Final Shape campaign on multiple characters of the same class may block acquisition of Prismatic on subsequent characters of the same class. We are investigating an increase in thermal errors on Xbox consoles. I don't like that at all. Ergo Sum, you can get many of them, but it is, however, missing from collections currently. Enhanced Psychic incorrectly grants restoration times 2 instead of lengthening restoration, so enjoy your extra restoration for now. And finally, the Salvation's Edge pattern collected triumph lists the incorrect reward. Completing the triumph will instead increase the chance for an extra weapon trait on adept weapons in the Salvation's Edge weapons. I feel like I misread that entirely. Let's try that again. The Salvation's Edge patterns collected triumph lists the incorrect award. Completing the triumph will increase the chance for extra weapon traits on adept versions of the Salvation's Edge weapons. And those are all our known issues. Everything else is fine. Everything else is beautiful. If for some reason you haven't completely passed out by now, there's an article with even more known issues, but we're going to ignore those.
Okay. Just like the end of the TWAB. There are art
very much
movies,
so.
But we're gonna ignore that and move on.
Yeah, there's art movies. Should I tell you what's been fixed this week?
Oh, God, yes.
So, I mean, I figure if people aren't quite asleep yet, if they're just on the cusp of that lovely slumber they're trying to get to,
yeah,
we did get an update on what was this, Tuesday, the 11th? Yeah, on the 11th on Tuesday, update 8003. They fixed an issue in Collision where capturing a zone while at full super energy would slightly reduce your super energy. That's in Crucible, so that should work now. In the Pale Heart, the sky has now changed in the Pale Heart after the events of Salvation's Edge being completed. Requires players to have completed the campaign to see that the sky has changed. It fixed an issue where the emote counter status UI would sometimes not appear with the emote collection encounter in the impasse location. I definitely saw that issue where it didn't know how many emotes I had. I just picked them up and hoped for the best. They fixed an issue where certain elements of the liminality strike would not load upon entering the first area of the abscess. In the campaign, they fixed an issue in campaign loss sectors that would prevent combatants or objectives from spawning, fixed a crash during the final encounter in the Iconoclasm mission, and fixed an issue where the art shown in the director dialogue when exiting the Final Shape campaign was not appearing correctly. In Onslaught, they fixed an issue where the turret upgrade costs were referencing decoy upgrade costs. In the Salvation's Edge raid, they fixed an issue where the Salvation's Edge carries stat tracker did not properly increment. In the Triumph, they fixed an issue where the Strand Triumphs were added from previously shipped raids, had missing strings, so the Triumph wording is better now. Pathfinder fixed an issue where the Grenade Ascension had incorrect objective string, so telling you to do something that you weren't meant to do. So if you can't get that done, now it should tell you the proper thing. Generally, they just fixed an issue where the risky archery emote caused the player to become invisible because they had changed that animation last week and now they've properly fixed it. For abilities, they fixed an issue where the knock 'em down aspect was not increasing the number of projectiles fired by the Blade Barrage. Fixed an issue where the Blade Fury Super was not activating Woven Mail to nearby allies in PvP, and with the Into the Fray aspect equipped. Fixed an issue where players weren't granted Prismatic subclass if they had missed a required cinematic. They are still investigating the issue where players do not unlock Prismatic if they play the mission with a player who has already unlocked Prismatic. So if you're having issues with unlocking Prismatic at all, play that initial mission solo, front to back. That should do it for you. In Armor, they fixed an issue where players could bypass the Lucky Pants cooldown by unequipping and re-equipping the armor, and fixed an issue where the incorrect description from the Arms Reach armor mod. And then finally, they fixed an issue on weapons where the non-denouement bow had the wrong damage profile. That's the new one that can do Volt Shot, apparently. Fixed an issue where the Magnificent Howl could be active for an extended duration, and fixed an issue where purchasing the legendary version of the Kvastov 7G 0X from collections was lower than intended. And now I've put you all deeply, deeply into slumber. And those are all the things fixed, all the things broken. Demon, what videos do you have for us?
I have a few videos. I didn't want to overload everybody this week. Is there no Respawn report roundup or anything that we need to kind of go over, or did we go
just a couple things sort of about the raid I mentioned earlier. There's just loads of other things people have talked about, but nothing terribly earth-shattering. Just lots of game to play. Go play it.
Yes. So if you're like me and you don't know what Echoes is all about yet, then As to Cross has a guide for you. Complete Echo's Guide plus Secret Mission. Double perk Enigma Protocol. So yeah, go and check that one out. How to get the exotic class item armor. Fallout Plays has a guide for you for that. So if you're lost at Respawn's explanation of what to kind of do, then there is a guide for it. Gather all 55 feathers of light. We've got all the locations. I haven't. Esoteric's got all the locations for you in one complete guide. So I was going to give you, there was individual guides last week that 360 Gaming TV has got out there. So if you want to kind of go and check those out, he goes over them individually. They go over them individually. But Esoteric's got all 55 feathers in one guide. And I do believe there are some in the Dual Destiny exotic mission. So check those ones out as well. I've got the video of the Hidden Lost Sector Pathfinder, if you want to have a look at what we were wittering on about earlier. The Beginner's Raid Guide for the Salvation's Edge from Fallout Plays. And several people have mentioned this week that the fourth encounter is the one that's very complicated with all these different symbols and different things. But apparently True Vanguard has the best fourth encounter guide for Salvation's Edge. It's about 20 minutes, or it's 18 minutes long, but it explains it in a way that you will completely understand what you need to do. So, and that was for Miss 5000 Watts recommended that one over on the DCP podcast. So I thought if she says it's good, it's going to be really good then. So, you've got the full guide from Fallout, but if you're kind of your team or you're struggling to understand the fourth encounter, which is the one with all the symbols and various different things, then check out True Vanguards. And that's
excellent.
It. That's all I have.
Yeah, like I said, I just declared bankruptcy on YouTube this week. There's lots of build videos. There's lots of videos. If you're struggling to do anything, there's videos out there for you.
And I am surprised that he didn't come back and try and kind of podcast from a water slide at some point.
That is fairly surprising. Yeah, I too was waiting very patiently and going, it's going to happen sooner or later. He's absolutely going to show up and we're going to have screaming children in the background, and that's all you're going to hear is just screaming children everywhere.
Yeah. But we didn't, so that's good. Yeah. So we can thank our patrons in peace today.
We can. We can thank all of our lovely patrons who've gone to patreon.com/TTAH and say, we appreciate what you do. We're just like, we appreciate trying to threaten Zep Orbit with a good time. Can't be done. Calvin Burns and K4 simply can't be threatened with a good time. We've tried. We've tried so many threats. We've run out of threats. The Otter Dance Troupe of the T-Rex King, Scarlet KM, Mellow Mally, Dedicated Wham 64, and Renard Calant. Phenomenal dancers. You've never seen better in your life. Our lovely grenade throwers, Carter 2782, Golden God 1562, Noble, basically Salt, Fire Squad 1688, and Coderson 105. Phenomenal grenade throwers. And, they didn't get the raids first this time, but maybe next time. Dimwee, Gravy Jeff, and PB Pipe, our Deacon's Day 1 raid team. And we appreciate each and every one of you. And we're going to have you a lovely show closer now. And also, peace and quiet. So thank you for joining us. Your Titans are Peroty and Night Demon. You won't find us in the raid, but you'll find us recording every weekend. Your Hunter, at the water park, on location. No one responds in real life. You can find the show on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Basically, go everywhere, type in 2 Titans and a Hunter into a search box, you'll find us. Email this show with all your feedback, questions, whatever, 2titansandahunter@hotmail.com. You can find this show wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on YouTube for each new episode, each weekly update, video, and live stream. And if you really want to go back into the deep, dark back catalog, 2titansandahunter.com will have every episode for you except for episode 2, because 19 says no, you don't deserve it. You haven't been good enough. And if you want to join our lovely Patreons, patreon.com/TTAH. Looking for more casual encounter, coffee.com, that's ko-fi.com/2titansandahunter. And when he's on location, twitch.tv/no one responds in real life gives you a lovely live version of this train wreck of a show as we try to read things, but thankfully you get the lovingly edited, proper version where we sound like people who know what we're doing. And if you want to see the nice British man stream early in the morning in the US or, proper times in the UK, twitch.tv/2titansandahunter. Go there, hit the subscribe, hit the bell, and honestly, go to youtube.com/2titansandahunter. You will find this show live. You will find all the all the weekly update videos of what Shadis has for us, what your rotations are, and everything else. So between YouTube and 2titansandahunter.com, you'll have everything you could ever want. Any closing thoughts, Night Demon, or just tell the people goodbye until next week?
Goodbye and have fun. So much
Back
fun.
to the Pale Heart.
Yep.
Two Titans and a Hunter, a Destiny 2 podcast.